What is up, y'all? It's your boy Aniki coming at you with another Church of MHA episode, season 3, episode 20 BB. So, as y'all already know, gotta let the people file in. But let me know how you have been. What's going on in the past couple days for y'all? Everybody living their best lives, chasing things. Had an interview. We talked about that. In fact, the interview was with the dude who likes my hero, so we'll see if that ends up helping. Since hey, I'll take any dub I can get in that department. Hey, all right, we got Julian Burns, we got Lamar Arrington. All right. People filing in. I love to see us. I love to see my people. Just going ahead and reminding the Discord. Bring y'all selves to church. All right, MK the baby. Please say the baby. That's funny because this is the first time I've been on time in like 3 months. So, but yeah, no. You got to stream this Sunday. You're pretty much guaranteed to get your Sunday streams until either I randomly get a job that happens to not let me work Sundays, or it's that. Because, and honestly, the job that I'm interviewing for is a Monday through Friday gig. So hopefully when I get the round 3 section of this interview and then just get that so that you guys get to keep, and it's like nothing ever happened. So looking at last week, oh yeah, Black Clover's back this week. But looking at last week, we left off with the, Shigaraki being half blinded, Bakugo apparently still planning, still plotting, still trying to be in the game. Meanwhile, the big 3 are trying to do their thing. We didn't see any Edge shot last week. Didn't see the Rabbit Hero last week. Seems like they might just be out. I'm fine with that. I didn't know what they were doing here against Shigaraki anyway. They was out of their element. Like, let's be serious. They weren't ready for the smoke. And the big 3 about to hoop harder than Genius or any of these other people have been doing is insane. So we'll see about that. No. Just the draft effect. All right. So let's see how many people we got in here. 18. Let's see as people file in. Okay. Mellow. All right. 19. All right. Let's see. What's going to happen? All right. Let's go with the chapter on that. No, they don't. They're getting put in the pack. It's embarrassing, but it is what it is. Do I want to start it now? Yeah, why not? We had 20 people. We can start now. Anybody who comes in later will just be able to catch up. It's fine. Ooh. All right. So first page of the chapter, and I'm already curious as what we're seeing here. Hey, what up, Dizel? Hey, Britt, making it to the live stream. I saw your comment that you just posted a couple hours ago. Caught right back up. One of the faithful followers. I appreciate you for real. That's why you get to be in the credits on any solo videos now. So we see we get little Tenko inside. Friends, I told Mikun and Tomo we should play together. And then Shigaraki's actually going to respond, I do have friends. You guys remember back from NBA when Shigaraki was the nice kid who was hanging out with the kids who weren't as popular, but he, has got his allergies, which kind of was going to be the pattern for the rest of his life, had he known. Because like Mikun and Tomo said, you're really nice, Ten, and Mon likes to go on walks with me. Did you know that, huh? So yeah, I've got friends. All right. So the oldest video I did, or one of the older videos I did, one of the first videos to actually hit 1,000 views as a solo project, was specifically on how Shigaraki is an inversion of the divine trinity of Christianity, specifically the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Now, what I had talked about in that video was the concept of all for one, the person, Shigaraki, and then Message for One, linking the three of them. But as all for one, the main body is getting phased out, we've maintained this unholy trinity within this character's writing by enabling the Tenko, like this small portion of him from back in childhood, which means that we now once again have this trinity here where we have AFO, the vestige, we have Tomura Shigaraki, the adult, and Tenko maintaining that unholy triune. We love to see it. This is all right. All right. So yeah, just saying, Hori's in his bag with this, and I love it. And what I like about this is Shigaraki seems genuinely confused by his outburst, similar to when he had that outburst and said, "You will be mine, little brother." So this is once again will lets you know that these are three different consciousness inhabiting this body now. So, all right, and oops. So there's a bunch of, so I'm guessing this is just him swinging like hell. That was sure a reaction. Did I hit a nerve or touch on a delicate topic? I feel bad. But more importantly, his core body is way tougher than the hand tentacles. There's no comparison. I couldn't even scratch his skin, so we might be in trouble. A fissure within. This body was complete, a perfect unification of Tomura Shigaraki and me, or so I thought. It seems that there's an opponent or a component that hasn't quite melded, neither Tomura nor All for One. Shimura. Dragging this knot out is not ideal. And I did all that talking just for the page to confirm it. Dragging this out is not ideal. Hey, get back here. And now why should I care about a pesky distraction? I thought I felt him hesitate back there. Let's see, Bakugo looking like we're getting a little flashback, but we see Bakugo and Genis are still there. It seems to be where Shigaraki's going to put his energy and time. Hado and Tamaki, you two are the opening act. That's when I make my debut and yank Bakugo out of there. Then, since I'm untouchable, I can get in close to his actual body and buy time. Still, we can't stall him unless there's a solid attack worth waiting for. That's why I'm buying that time for you, Tamaki. Okay, so is Sun Eater going to show us something nice? Because I've been worried about him this whole time. Because it's been kind of feeling like he's a little out of his weight class here. So I'm not going to say he's completely outmatched, I guess, but we'll see. Hey, all right. So we'll be having Ponzu back soon enough. Remember, as Ponzu always tells you, like the stream. No. All right. Shigaraki's focus. Come. Do your worst, you foul abomination. Genis, please stop talking bigger than you are. Don't push yourself too hard. You've already eaten a decent hit. You're barely conscious, right? And then you people, let's see, these spires. Okay, hold on. Let me zoom in a little here. I want to see what's going on in this action sequence. All right. Yes, Nigeria using that like energy pike again, it looks like, to kind of blast through. You people. And, Nigeria going in. This arena was constructed solely to defeat you. Built a tune for yourselves. Hey, you. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, man. Hori ain't beating the allegations if this happened. Hey, you. Oh, yep. That's definitely a small chomp on our skin, at least. Since you've got that all-powerful quirk, it's like you look down on the rest of us. Wait, no. Whenever I'd get curious and try to learn about others, I'd wind up driving them away. Which hero? But then, are you a fan of? You asked me that. I got to learn so much about you two here, and now I'm all the stronger for it. We know the true worth of his vast hybrid. Sure, it takes time to cook up properly, but Togata and I know all about you, Tamaki Amajiki. Okay, okay. Let's see. Okay. She's hold up. Dragon fruit, chestnut, Brussels, Japanese, moso, spiny, peanut. Let's see, bear, green sea turtle, jackfruit, locust, red sea urchin, red something fowl, soft shell turtle, zebra, tarantula, spider crab. It looks like Sika deer, American alligator, and Nejire Hato's energy. He's basically making a giant dragon on his arm. Eating more things makes your potential grow and grow. If anything can land a meaningful hit on Shigaraki, it's got to be a quirk with no upper cap. That means you. It has to be you, Sun Eater. Woo-wee. Woo-wee. So, I was like, Sun Eater can eat spiny lobster. Okay, that's what it was. I was trying to read through all of them, but they're behind the amalgamation that he's forming, so I can't see them all. Green sea turtle, like a brown bear. There we go. There's another one. Yeah. Ooh, that's the combination of what seems to be at least 30 to 40 things, and then mixing that in with the ability to, eat the energy. Because I was wondering, like, we had to get some payoff for that, oh, wait. Yep, because we saw him eat the crystals all the way back then. So it was kind of like, all right, where is he at with the eating other stuff? Because, he didn't have to resort to cannibalism, obviously, because, he doesn't end up eating Shigaraki pieces. But, shoot, that might as well be the next step. Because if this attack doesn't put him down or do enough damage like he wants it to, might just have to eat some pieces of Shigaraki, level up again. Which I'm glad that they acknowledge that this quirk technically doesn't have a cap, because you can just eat indefinitely. So I'm guessing this also means that Sun Eater probably has like no allergies and is likely similar to Tabe in that when he ingests something, it doesn't necessarily sit in his stomach the same way, is what I'm guessing. But we'll probably get a bit more focus on how his quirk functions and what's going on there. I'm guessing that he also was using the like that octopus camouflage ability specifically to ensure that he wasn't just spotted right away. Okay, yeah, this chapter was 11 pages. I thought that was a little fast.
Yeah, that shit was
another break, buddy.
Shit was low. I was surprised we wasn't on break. I was like, the fuck?
Say what?
I was surprised we wasn't on break after this with 11 pages, because it's like, the art is kind of only worth it at the point of the last panel. So it's like, I understand I'm taking a lot, but 13 pages is a little, but 11 pages is the only time I first started being actually concerned. But I'll let it see, because Thomas made a good, by the way, send Thomas the link, because, we don't have Tarnish here, and it's just us. So go ahead and shoot that my Irish Prince that link, please.
I told Thomas I wanted him on this week anyway.
Yeah. So, but it's funny that we got whatchamacallit. Funny that the nigga that was clowning on the most, more so than anybody, is the niggas that's going to be the biggest contender, the biggest MVP of this. Thing.
Because the thing is that it was like, what is Sun Eater gonna do? Like, which ability is he tapping into? How is he gonna get around this? Like, how is he gonna meaningfully contribute during this fight? Because it was looking kind of rough for him. And like, here, baby. My girl handed me breakfast. Thank you, baby. But Wendy's fries be going hard. They need to make these the regular menu fries. Replace the other one. But so
I put a message in the chat. In our chat, the Zoom chat, by the way.
Oh snap.
Yeah.
You are right.
I didn't say that out loud because some people might not notice, but
you are right. That's a problem.
Yeah. So I'll just go ahead and speak. Yeah, so at first I was gassed up about the chapter, and then I had realized something upon looking at, because I was trying to talk in the morning, because it usually goes like not that many people awake, because mass majority read spoilers, so they don't have to read the scans immediately. So it's a few of us that read the scans off rip. So then, and then it's even fewer that read officials. So then from there, I was like, all right, I need a conversation about the chapter. Went ahead and went into the crackhead channel to see what it was thinking or whatever. And then that's when all my hype went away, because then I realized now the road is even longer and even more complicated I'm had to deal with until I'm fucking free of this nonsense. Now I ain't even Melvin no more. It's Magumamu. Magumaru. That's the nigga name now. Magumaru. And the reason it's so out of pocket and fucking complicated to pronounce and spell is because it's the same route hardcore you take it with this goddamn Tinko Shimura off vestige for one shit. It's a complicated ass, extra ass route. The issue is this is why I'm gonna punch hardcore in this fucking noggin twice. One, for making me go through all this extra shit. Two, when the shit is all over, because I know it's gonna be worth it at the end of the road. It's just the fact that I gotta go through this nonsense. Now I'm gonna have to see extra bullshit until this shit is actually resolved. And I know there's no next week. It's gonna be a long ride. I'm gonna deal with this shit, but it's a little bit more bearable because the scans they made. Oh boy, the slander that would have been on this nigga Shigaraki head. Nah, that nigga said in the scans, that nigga was like, "Oh, Monchan said I'm a really good boy," or some shit like that.
What?
Yeah, that nigga said I'm a really good boy. That shit really peeved me because it really took me out during the chapter, but then I had to go back and really read it. Niggas talking in the crackhead, did the spoilers. Nah, that shit really like took me the fuck out. I was like, now I'm gonna have to really deal with some bullshit for even longer. And the slander I was gonna be riding, but thank God the officials cleared up what the fuck he said, because ain't no misunderstanding shit, nigga. It's a longer road to get to the fucking point, nigga. There ain't no discussion about it. It's just an extra additive on the way to get to free and Shigaraki. Ain't no misunderstanding shit. I don't care which way you look at it. This is an extra step. They're gonna call even more niggas talking about extra shit.
Look, this is so the thing about this that will eternally be funny to me though is just at this point it's like no, like this, like we've known for a while that like Tenko was in there, so like the idea of somebody being like surprised about this is kind of baffling, or like even trying to be mad about it.
Yeah. No, it's not that. Like I just said, see, you don't understand the words that's coming out of my mouth. So let me speak clearly to everybody. I already understand and know what the fuck is coming. My issue and my irritants is not the lack of faith, nigga. It's the fact I know what's coming. The fact that I have to deal with this bullshit extra on top of that until we fucking get to where we get. This is like, god damn. Now I gotta deal with something else on top of this nigga head. Now I already know it, because I already seen you niggas cracking jokes about Tenko won't be the reason he gets saved and this, that, and other. Now they really got the ammo for the friendship and touching heart bullshit and saving. Now they really got the ammo for that shit. Now I do not feel like dealing with this nonsense. I ain't finna argue with nobody, and my patience is run out for being nice with this shit. Because a real big issue I got a lot of these niggas, especially niggas that think that they're really like closed off and just having no part two whatsoever. Niggas really think like, oh, this should just really end all sweet for Deku, and he shouldn't have to sacrifice his ideals for nothing. It's like, well, I don't see Deku killing. It's like, all right, ain't about what Deku want to do, nigga. Fuck.
What about Deku?
It's about it's because I was talking about this is like a lot. It's even worse for Shigaraki, and then this whole Meguru third party body shit now just makes the the leeway for people having allegations of the touching his heart, Shigaraki turning good type shit, and reverting to Tenko type beat. Even more so, like, plausible because they got something like they can hold on to. Like, oh look, he's coming to the front speaking. Now I have to deal with more bullshit than what was needed before. It's like, all right, damn nigga. Now I gotta hear more nonsense. You get these niggas some ammo, huh? Like, I already don't feel like dealing with this shit because this shit is annoying. I've already had my patience run deep in with this nonsense. Now you want to go back to fooling around again. God damn. Get this shit over with, please. I understand, bro. I can't wait till we leave next week though, because goddamn, like,
I'm surprised we're not on a break yet.
I know, right? With that page count, I'm like, all right, nigga. I'm surprised, but I think we got a break after this week for the magazine.
Maybe, yeah.
I hope so, because like this is kind of wild.
Mm-hmm.
Tobufu. That's my thing too. It's like niggas really. This is my thing. I seen a thread. Well, I kind of disagree with the thread. They really tried to make Shigaraki like, because it's like they say, oh, he was like coping and trying to absolve the guilt and this, that, and the other, like what he did to his family, this and the other. You do realize that no matter which way you try to present it, in 270, he already came to terms with what he did to his family. No matter which way you try to frame it, Tenko himself killed his dad because his dad rejected him, and then his dad smacked him in the face. You tell me what 10-year-old you got if you smack him in the metal pipe with the face and he go and stab you with let's say you don't got a power and he stabbed you repeatedly and he says, man, I felt mad and ecstasy in my body. That ain't got nothing to do with that nigga all for one or none of that. That's like, okay, you can feel guilt and remorse for killing somebody, but the fact that you felt that and killing somebody that rejected you and physically abused you, that's saying a lot, nigga. That's not just getting revenge. That's going the extra like step out the way and you feeling that in your body. So it's always when people try to like, oh, All for One helped him embrace what was deeper inside of him. Don't act like he didn't have that shit in him before All for One. You want to blame the quirk? Okay, that's still part of who he is as a person.
Well, the way I look at it is like this, right? Tenko came out here, but it's not like he came out and immediately went to being nice. The only person that Tenko is likely to be nice to, even a little, is Deku.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see, he was like this is him lashing out in anger. That rage is still there. So it's not like Tenko is, because like, if anything, Tenko is just as, if not more dangerous than both All for One and Shigaraki, because he's objectively like the mind of a 5-year-old.
Yeah, so
he's volatile.
And when he snaps, it's like, okay. It's like, oh, he looked a little cute, baby. Like, oh no, you can't have that cookie. Fuck you, nigga. That's my cookie. Like, hold on. Like if I come, like a Shigaraki coming at me, I know, like, all right, nigga, I gotta shoot this nigga. All for One coming, I gotta shoot this nigga. It's like the child coming at me, like I can't just knock a nigga off rip, but he could come at me, but then he spasm. It's like, oh wait, whoa, nigga, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, what the fuck? It's like, hey yo, whoa, like Bob Wee type. Be like, Tenko got that dog in him, nigga. Even now. Tenko has that dog. So niggas always trying to talk about like, oh, like the thing tries to like, oh, tomorrow Shigaraki is a hollow shell so he can feel comfortable with what he did, this and the other, etc. I was just like, yeah, bro, but at the same time, that may work at the president of like, oh, I didn't really mean to kill my sister, my mom, my grandparents, whatever. That's just the usual. I hate y'all. I didn't mean to do what I did. His dad, he intentionally did what the fuck he did. Like he could have stopped that point. His dad smacked him. He said, what the fuck, nigga? He said, nah, and lunged. Maybe people need to reread that interaction. Like, he hit that nigga. He knew what his hands were capable of, fully aware at that point. And he lunged on that nigga. And he fucking mushed his face in and DK'd him and said, man, I felt mad and XC. Don't try to like, oh, he fooling himself with this, that, and other. He already came to terms with what had happened at that point. He said, yeah, it wasn't really tragic. Like, this, that, and the other. Like, my heart came encumbered because that was the impression. And like at 270, he really faced that. He was like, oh, it's okay. I let that go. It's in the past, whatever. Then his dad comes back, and that's when he shows his aggression. It's like, if you, at the end of the day, bro, he has that dog in him. So if you try him, or he has that twistedness in his shit, no matter what way you try to look at it, you can't blame All for One and then try to throw it off all on Shigaraki and the guilt, this and other. Yeah, he felt guilt for killing the other members of his family. I highly doubt he had that much shit in his heart for killing his father.
Like Shigaraki was like, oh, super chat, Mr. Andrew coming through. You see, Tenko was coping, lying to himself about enjoying killing his family. Aofo took over his body when he was 5 before meeting him and killed his fam.
Yes, Andrew always got jokes. Andrew always got fucking jokes. But that's the thing. That's kind of what the tweet was almost kind of like saying. Like it, in the end, I was okay with. I didn't vibe with it all the way through because some points really tried to. It's like it's always this thing. This is where the issue truly lies. It's like people trying to shift blame on and off, and they really try to make Tenko too pure.
Yeah,
like to a fault. It's like, all right, well, no, he just did this. He made there's like Shigaraki made like a Shigaraki's just his hollow shell. It's like this persona. He could. It's almost like I forgot. It's certain movies and anime that just like, oh, you create this persona so you can do this, so that person can not feel guilt for what they do. Yeah, it's some shits like that. I forgot what
like Symphony of the Seven.
Yeah. So it's like you shipped off this so you can get away with doing this. So it's like,
what tweet are you looking at?
You know the tweet. Hold on, I'm gonna link it to you. I'm not
Perfect,
looking at I'm not looking at it directly, but it's just like, and hold on, Andrew said so I can pull it up from there. It's just like I kind of like absolving the blame from this what Tenko did and try to like accountability is a thing. People like he did what the fuck he did.
And that's kind of the issue that I have with a lot of villain discourse, because a lot of it does come back to something Dabi said during his video where he was like, I'm not saying everyone has to be perfect, just you. And to a certain degree, it's like when you look at who Endeavor is, Endeavor, because he's supposed to be a good guy, since he did bad, like those bad things, is like permanently bad to a lot of people, even though he's trying, improving, and moving past all that stuff. Whereas it's the opposite, where they're like, wow, this person does nothing but terrible things now, but because something bad happened to them, I forgive it all. And I'm like, all right, so that's interesting. And so it's this. So it's like when you look at Tenko, it's like because bad things happened to him, and we were introduced to that, and wondering why he became the way he did, that becomes more important for a lot of people than the actual consequences of his actions, because he's got a decent motive while being a bad guy, whereas Sugar or like somebody like Endeavor had a bad motive while trying to be a good guy. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to explain this, but you guys, every time you do that, you kind of ooh-fy villains to a certain degree. Like the ooification of Dabi is one of the most fascinating things that's ever happened in this fandom.
Delusion of grandeur. What
Like,
I see is
But
amazing.
it's their delusions and their emotions that cloud their judgment, and that's the most dangerous thing, because you could argue this will transfer over to real life too. It just sucks.
See, this is the thing. I wish Sayas was here, because she one time she like picked a bone at me when she was like, me and Aniki had this like favoritism towards the villains or this and others. Like it's like you agree with them a little bit too much. It's like, nah, it's not agreeing with them too much. They have a point, no matter which way you try to look at it or downplay it. But you're on the side of the heroes, so you're more so of a hero stand than anything. You see, the thing with me and Tarnish were talking about one time in voice notes is that, nigga, it's okay for the villains to win here, because we already know that at the end of the day, the fucking heroes are going to win. So, and the fact that you've built these villains up, this is like the difference with MHA than rather than a lot of these series, that why the villains need a W. And that when I'm watching Yaiba, I don't have a backstory in the setup for what Upper Moon 5 to meet this specific character 100 chapters through prior to. And I was the meetup is building up, and they're getting these teases in there. They meet here, but I'll get you next time. Oh, I'll meet here, but this time I'm really gonna get you like this time. It's not set up and built. I'm not seeing their characters interact and intertwine and have a build, a bond, and a family in a mold prior to the thing. When they die, that's when I see everything in full effect and becoming Demon Slayer, typical fashion. Like, oh, or like in Bleach, whatever. I get these characters like, oh, their time to shine. Or they're trying to like they get the backstories when they're dying or in their fight to die or be defeated, whatever have you. Prior to an MHA is different, because now it's like I got investment and set up for events that should happen with characters directly going at somebody's head. Not seeing a series like this where they really be like from start, jump, first official arc, main villain shows up like, I want this nigga head specifically. Not the MC. MC can't die yet until the end, pretty much most of the time. I want this nigga head specifically. You nigga is like, okay. And Dobby and Deborah, oh, Shota, they kind of related. Then it's like built up even more. Don't break a leg, Genji. It's like the build up there is way more vastly different than like this. So it's like I'm expecting some form of like payoff. But it's like, okay, the villains have a point and they should get some form of W. Like the hero should have to sacrifice something to get this W because they're for all logical reasons, right? I should feel something like it was earned on both sides. So then it's like, okay, but so then it's like we not fighting the villains. Nobody ever said, oh, my poor baby Debbie, this and like, no, kill these niggas. But they got stuff they need to do before they die. Nobody be like, oh, my poor baby Shigaraki's so innocent and sweet. No, nigga. We ain't those villain stands, nigga. Kill these niggas at the end of the day. But they have stuff they need to do prior to going out because at the end of the day, the heroes are going to win. So what's wrong with at the evening time before or noon or high noon, they get their little W, they actual something tangible to eat and feed on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Andrew, super chat from Andrew.
Oh, Andrew come through. Tenko is here so Deku can save him. If Shiggy responded about the league, then I could have seen them save him, but the innocent babies.
Yeah, Andrew, you got joke all day, bro.
He started serious. So here's my thing though, is that like, if anything, if people who are like, I haven't seen Shigaraki's thoughts on twice yet, should actually find this really assuring. Because if we're getting Tenko's thoughts on Mikun and Monchan,
how far back are you really gonna go? That's the thing about lack of faith. It's like, all right, bro, ain't no bigger standard twice to me out here, nigga. Ain't nobody fiending for this nigga. When I found out he was coming back, that should have been everything you needed to know about that point in time right there. That he was gonna bring that nigga back, and you still think that interaction is null and void? Like, nah. It's gonna. That's why Spinner is really the saving grace. Everything lies with Spinner's back because he's been cooking with that nigga for quite a while. So it's like, all right, everything lies within Spinner's back. But let me address some things in chat real quick. Yeah, Tofu said, did Tenko get the name change before or after he killed the two gangsters? He got the name change after he killed them because Orphan was proud. I said, yeah, now you get my shit.
It was specifically he killed them because he was like on the floor throwing a fit, and then Orphan was like, what do you want to do? And he was like, I want to kill them. Tenko touches the hand one of the hands that was on the counter, destroys it, puts all the other hands on, goes out. They see him and they're like, what's up with this kid, dog? He murks them. And then Dr. Ujiko is like, he's using his quirk. I thought his memories were erased. And he's like, they're not erased, they're suppressed. And these hands keep them below the surface. That kid has a twisted nature.
And like off one said, the nigga was born twisted, but like y'all like that's what I said. This thing about cherry picking to fit a narrative, and a lot of times it's like sometimes you can do it subconsciously, but in this case, it's like, all right, bro, there are plenty of fucking things that don't make this absolve this nigga of his like he's pure innocent or some shit. He was a child, yeah. All child have like cute natures or whatever, but like you could be a bad child and still have like some good quality or charm to you. But you still like, if you fucked up in the head, you fucked up in the head. Like who out there like and then you want to blame the quirk. The quirk is a part of who he was. He wasn't gifted that shit. So it's like no matter which way you try to like frame it, bro, that's still that nigga. So how you want to do that?
Tenko having his memory suppressed doesn't change the fact that part of his personality has, since decay finally started manifesting, been this way. And yeah, that's the other thing too, is that he's been Shigaraki longer than Tenko. Like Tenko is stuck at the age of 5. Because if you really think about it, even though Mirio said he was friendless, he didn't engage with the actual crux of Mirio's logic, which was that if you have friends, why would you destroy the entire world? He doesn't know that he doesn't know, obviously, that Shigaraki said he'd let the things that his allies cared about stick around. But to cause so much wanton destruction and destroy so many lives because you don't have friends that have people beyond you is effectively what Mirio's really kind of hitting at here. Like the idea that if you have friends, basically like that baseline of empathy, because it's like that feeling of rejection from the world leads you to hating the world. But if you took that time to pause and think about it, you'd realize that you are creating the same situation for many other people that made you unhappy and put you in this position. So why would you do that? Why would your ambition be to recreate that unless you were alone already and could not possibly fathom the idea of other people being harmed on accident? And that's why Tenko might be salvageable, but it's going to be a hell and high water to get there, because him not thinking about, you know, the fact that it's like, dude, you're killing everyone. That's not cool. And he's just like, yeah, well, I had friends.
I don't think it's that odd though, Tarnish, because at the end of the day, this is Tenko, a child's. So him just interacting with Mirio's comment of, "Oh, you have no friends. Why would you destroy everything if you have friends?" It would be in line with the age, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why I'm like, him being 5 might also make him too childish to be saved.
Yeah.
And hey, Tanisha, because like, it's not weird that he took the most focus on the insult, but it is telling that he gave no pause or concern for anything else that was discussed there. So it's kind of weird having like an 11-page chapter though. Like the shortness of this is throwing me off a little. So I'm hoping that there's not any health issues.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the shortest chapter of any My Hero chapter,
I believe
right?
it is.
That we got so far.
I don't think we've ever gotten a chapter with less than 13 pages before this.
I told East that there could be the reason that he paused here, because if he didn't, he would have had a longer chapter, because it feels like we got an abrupt ending.
It does kind of, it like, so this final page feels like right, like it feels like this is a good page to end a chapter on. But I guess it kind of, what I guess it really comes down to is like what the next chapter has in it, because it could be one of those things where it's like the events shake out to be less pages than like 2 chapters comfortably fit, but like the actual endpoint for a week-to-week experience doesn't line up with how that page count shakes out. So if we get like a 19-20 page chapter next week, that might explain why, because it was like, this is the best endpoint for a chapter for a 1-week release, and this is the overall point, because at the end of the day, we know that he incorporates the anime into his mindset when he's doing some of that stuff. So if that's the case, and then it's like, okay, once we get the anime episode, it'll just go through like smoothly, and it'll just be like, okay, yeah, this is raw. But right now it's like, are we missing pages?
All right, where we at now?
Oh,
I'm back.
Actually, I want to address something that Alex Nader said. The idea of AFO being so smug about slowly taking over Shiggy and then Tenko just snatching the control back due to a single comment is just hilarious. AFO is an entire L personified. Well, the thing about this is that it leads into that whole like, AFO is smart, he does have good plans, but AFO knows he's smart and has good plans. And that bites him in the ass often. Because effectively, he's like, yep, so much has gone so well that I just can't possibly have like missed anything. And he doesn't always consider variables. Like when you're sitting here and you gave him a new name, and you're talking about how he's suppressing parts of his memories, you could have factored in that maybe there's always going to be like this variable to his personality going forward. This is also why the AFO giving him decay theory doesn't really make much sense, just because it wouldn't make sense for him to be like, this boy is the perfect vessel when you gave him that quirk. So it seems like there has to be a little more at play there than just that, where decay can easily be a variant quirk. And I feel like that was part of why we were introduced to Eri before we got Shigaraki's backstory, because they made it abundantly clear that Sometimes people just pop up with a quirk that has nothing to do with their family or anything like that.
Whatsoever, just anomaly.
Mhm.
I feel like Nine was a borderline. He's a borderline. Whatchamacallit,
Mm-hmm.
variant baby. Borderline, because this shit was broken as fuck, but his body couldn't withstand it. Meanwhile, with Sugar Rocky and Air, their bodies can withstand their shit to a certain extent. So damn near they can max out without like really fucking themselves over or dying intentionally altogether. Like
Nine was basically the midpoint between people, because like, and if you think back what they were talking about, and think back to what Endeavor said, and if you look at Nine, actually, let me double check something real quick. I'm gonna look up how old Nine is.
I think he's like in his 20s.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
I want to say like mid-20s to late 30s.
Also, Hafiz, did you just read the chapter?
Yeah, he had to.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
It doesn't
what's up, and
say.
We can roughly estimate from 25 to 30.
Mhm.
I mean, my thing is that he could very well actually be a little older than that. Because he could be in his mid 30s to early 40s, and that would put him closer to Endeavor's age. And if you remember, Endeavor was one of the people who was like, when they were talking about Deku's quirk having harm on him, his response was, "So you're one of us." And specifically, from what we know, Endeavor's age group generation is supposed to be around where quirks having a bit more backlash started popping up. And the thing that was starting to affirm the quirk singularity theory. So if that's the case, then Nine is like basically in that area. And that's why he was almost at that point. He was like a sign of what was to come. It's just that nobody probably understood that or paid much attention to him, especially with the quirk singularity theory being such a fringe thought process for fanatics, where we see that there's religions that will build up around it, but not modern day society looking into how that could be the case, or how some people's having quirks that they can't control might be a symptom and a precursor to those events. In dots here. Let's see, proto AFO and strapped in. Yep.
That's what it's like, especially with that nigga. It's like, all right, that's just another thing. It's just like, yeah, you scrapped the whole, you did the whole prototype shit. So it's like, I ain't even got to explain like the theory. So this is my thing with All For One and being a personified L or whatever, this and other. You know one about the name without naming it and spoiling these reveals. So y'all know who these people are. So do not say their names out loud because it's spoiling. The Control Devil and Kenjaku. All For One is not those two. You know who those people are if you've seen it. Do not spoil their actual names because those are big spoilers. But All For One is not moving like Kenjaku or the Control Devil. Like the way they carried themselves was never once felt like a joke.
No.
But the way All For One be carrying themselves, like, I got. It's like somebody's like she's saying he like a Sunday morning like cartoon villain for an episodic series. Like, oh, look at this, my plan. But look at this. Did you don't have this? It's like, but the way it's like I felt more like prominence from this nigga back when he didn't fucking talk, and more like when they talk about Prime All For One. That's when I feel like he's the same way I felt about All My. Like back in the day, you were the nigga. Now you be saying some shit that's kind of goofy because it's like
corny nigga.
Yeah, you still got that. You still got like you used to be that nigga. You used to be the old, like you used to be the OG. Like you the OG, but your time was up. Like it's a new era, and it's like you kind of like don't care. You don't carry yourself the same way like you used to. It's like All My used to be that nigga. Yeah, but let's not laugh like everybody been laughing at that nigga since he lost his quirk. There's been moments where he's like, oh, this thing kind of goofy, bro, and shit.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of All For One is a showman at the end of the day. And like, it's funny that both All For One and All Might have such flashy personalities, because it's like, even though All For One is said to have been somebody who ruled from the shadows, even though like as soon as we met him, he was making like a grand entrance. Because if you think about it, he was walking up on a bunch of top tier heroes that just kicked in his door, literally. Like he didn't have to do that. He could have just snuck out the back. Like, think about that. All for One could have just snuck out the back.
We wouldn't have gotten the Carmino fight if
Exactly.
All for One was like, let me just take the back door.
But because as much as he was like, I'm just here to help Tenko. If you want to fight All Might, no, he was baiting All Might. He wanted to fight All Might there.
And then after all that shit, he was talking like, yo, I really despise you, nigga. Like, you know, you took out all my people. You did all this, and I was like, you stepped on all our shit. Like, yeah, nigga, you had beef with that nigga. Don't try to lie. And now looking at everything in hindsight, how long we know All Might had that quirk, how much shit damage he did to that nigga's entire infrastructure. Nah, nigga, don't be trying to lie, boy. You really wanted to fight that nigga.
Oh, I'm not saying AFL had a horrible interest. Quite the opposite. I'm saying that the way he entered, though, was blatantly him being flashy. The only thing he could have done to amp it up more, and I can't remember if he did it or not, because I feel like he didn't do this, but maybe I'm tripping, is that he could have just walked up clapping. He might as well have walked up to them clapping his hands before he got.
I don't think he did walk up clapping.
So right, and that's like the only thing extra he could have done. He pulled up in a suit and then blew holes in like half the city. He didn't even have to use an attack of that scale to make his point. But he did.
He's All for One.
Nigga had to stand on top of all the rubble next to Shigaraki. Look, my niggas, impending void of doom arrow. My God, the demon lord is here. Nigga pull up on Ayama. Ooh, excellent, young Ayama. You go. Excellent. You were a little off on some details, but look here now. It's like, oh, you betrayed me, huh? Well, you didn't realize my niggas was sneaking up the whole time. It was like, nah, we knew what you was gonna do, nigga. So we kind of playing. We playing for this. We let you look like everybody else was elsewhere.
Like that. Like All for One was like, look, boom, I can summon a bunch of people. I'm running the show. Yeah. And it's like, because like think about that. The way he like floated down menacingly and all that other stuff, which is gonna make a great shot in the anime, of course, but. It's like this dude is a diva and he always has been. And like this is not like that's never gonna stop. But I think it's like when you see him being so goofy, you're like, All for One is just a giant weird nerd.
He's a drama kid.
Like, and when you think about it though, it's like it's kind of like what you'd actually expect from like bad people in the real world when you look at like giant corporate leaders or whatever that are like, yeah, we destroyed this village's economy. So what? Like that's kind of like the big like approach to All for One. Like, well, I'm just gonna show up, do this thing, and it's like it's not some menacing dude riding around with a bunch of guns whooping the villagers' butts. It's a dude pretending like he cares about them, offering them a job, increasing their standard of living when they realize that they should probably make a bit more money off these t-shirts they're making in the sweatshop. And they realize, oh, the Nikes I make in this factory and get paid $1 a week to make get sold for 400. And then they pull out shop like, yep, I'm out. Y'all don't want to be underpaid and exploited. Well, I'm leaving and taking all my factories and stuff with me. Like, it's just like a certain level of being evil and at the front line for the sake of doing so is kind of where we're at with these people. And those people aren't big menacing people. They're just a bunch of dorky dudes that got good jobs and make the decisions now. It's like the most horrible stuff is caused by a bunch of like randomly overly powered nerds. So
especially that the nigga that stopped reading because his villain lost. I mean, his villain won.
Right, like Dog was like, I don't need the end of the story because the end of the story is gonna make me not be right about the story.
I think that's worse than rewriting art.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also, Brandon De La Cruz, that has always been the case because it's like he shot that giant blast at All Might and could have just blasted him again and was like, I want to punch you like you punched me though. That's ultimately what that came down to. You punched me really hard, and I'm gonna punch you and hit you back. It's like that's 4-year-old logic. Like,
yeah, it's like when you're in the playground and you're playing like superheroes with your friends, and then you go, I will use this power against you, but I'll do this. That's All for One.
Yeah. Like, and that's why it's kind of funny that, and maybe that's exactly why a 5-year-old was able to wrest control from his hands. He's not really that much better than a 5-year-old. He just happens to be smarter and have like experience and a lot of power to back up what he wants to get. But it's not the same as him actually being like truly competent.
Now, in this regards, it's funny that we say this too, because it's like, what am I gonna leave with that? It's funny that y'all say that about that Nick, because you're just like a big ass toddler in a lot of regards. It's my turn never eat. When. Go take a hike, big lady. Like, I ain't nigga. Don't act like you just get your ass beat by her in the Vestures world. She played you, nigga. Don't act like that, nigga. All right, boy.
Yeah, no, like All For One was like,
You're right,
oh,
Cameron.
thank God. My other quirks fought back enough that I managed to make it through this. Take a hike there. Like, bro, you in shambles. You didn't even want her to take a hike. You wanted that quirk to stay. Don't fake hard now. It's too late.
Yeah, you already showed your true colors, nigga.
You was happy as hell when you thought you had your hands on that quirk. You was, I win, yay.
Shitting and pissing yourself, nigga.
Like, that ass shitting and pissing himself out of joy. Like, he just knew he had it. He had it in his bag. And then it was like, ha, psych.
So, question. So y'all know how, like in movies, you know how a typical structure of a superhero movie go. You got a superhero, he get his powers, rise up, experience in life. Then shit get real. He lose a fight, or he lose somebody, or both. You typically, and then at the end they all come back and like, all right, we beat the villain, but we learned our lesson, this and the other, right? It's typically how typical superhero movie goes, right? Or a hero movie, whatever regard. Now, in a sense that this is a movie, it's the fact that we haven't reached a point where Deku's actually truly down bad. He hasn't actually truly been down bad. Like, okay, for you to be the biggest, like, I don't know any of y'all niggas is biggest Spider-Man fan in horror culture, because the nigga went in the Spider-Man suit to go see Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't know if any of y'all niggas ever did that. Like, it's one thing going to a con, nigga. Everybody dressed up there. I don't expect to see a nigga in a full Spider-Man suit if I'm going to motherfucking just a movie. Talk about his favorite movies of all time. They were all Spider-Man movies and all his top 3. And then then the new ones just keep taking over and expanding. We're Far From Home at this last bit. So it's like, on this journey, it's like, yeah, you're gonna need to really like lose something. So it's just like, once again, this is just another twist. Like DSN says, like, this is just whole Tinko shit, really just a ruse or setting up for a plot twist. It's just gonna bite Deku on the ass. And this conversation not gonna go how Deku really. I don't think he really has a fair scope of how this conversation is gonna go, or truly right. Actually, in his brain, like, this conversation not gonna go right. Because what happens when Tinko disagrees with you?
Exactly. Like, because that's the other thing, is that Tenko is not magically going to become a healthy adult.
Yep.
So,
child.
And leaving a 5-year-old in control of what Shigaraki's body is currently, man.
Yeah, bro. I think we'd be worse off. like Shigaraki not gonna Dabi act out of order. Shigaraki not gonna just spaz and beat that nigga or accidentally kill that nigga.
Deku is good with children.
You leave Tinko on control. I don't know.
Deku's good with children, but not to this extent. This is a whole different ballpark than Eren Koda.
Because that's gonna be that's. But this is a nigga that's. See, there's a difference. This child also has 20-something years of experience, also, because he also knows everything that Shigaraki's been going on with at the same time. He's been watching. He's not completely oblivious to all this. He knows about the league. He knows about everything going on with that too. So it's like, you're not just getting some innocent. You're not just getting some child with like one side of the jail. Like, he's experienced a bunch of things at this point. So it's not just that. Oh, you got air.
I want to hit something that Alex said in the chat too about this, because when we were talking about AFO, because he points out something that is like very true is that Shigaraki lost 2 of his fingers, or I think it was 2 of them, while fighting Redestro, and was still trying to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude was like, okay, I'm gonna keep swinging. AFO realized he was about to get hit with Prominence Burn and actually started begging Endeavor not to do it. Like, wait, no, I'm not gonna win if you do that. And obviously he was like, well, the big sacrifice play, blah, blah, blah. But we don't know if he's actually going to be able to successfully rewind himself or not, or if he just fell to ashes while trying to do it. Mm-hmm. We don't know what happened with that. It's kind of funny that like what's going on right now is engaging enough that we can just kind of leave All For One potentially rewinding on the back burner. And we know that one of the big deciding factors in this conflict is going to be like the biggest, what this tells us, whether people have thought about it or not, is that definitively the Ochako Toga battlefield is going to change something massive in the story. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the start of the swing of this section of the story starting to go in the villain's favor, or we're going to start seeing them at least start catching a couple dubs. Because otherwise, why did we go Dabi, AFO, Shigaraki, and leave Toga way over here?
That's always been my biggest thing about this entire thing. Is like, you can't, any argument you say Russian is dead to me, because your argument is null and void for start to finish. Just stop speaking after that point, because you have no grounds to base it off of. Because if he wanted to end it, he could have done the most typical classic shonen way, like a typical shonen anime manga would do, and the basing the old school way. You have your niggas, you lead up lesser fights. You know how like it's always like a group of 5 niggas, and they have the ones that get the less screen time. Then you got your main 3 or main strongest niggas. Is like, all right, then you build up, and then you have like, all right, lesser fight, let's fight, battlefield. Then you could have did it like the same layout, but as a crescendo, and each one just been a round done type beat. Instead, you try to take a long loopy old roll around, and then have Dabi's fight bleed into Spinner going crazy and all that, showing all case all the battlefields. Then you have that bleed into Endeavor's mentality, and now he's like, all right, now I can really truly face Toya type shit. But then it's like, all right, but then you go here, it's like, all right, nah, nigga. Then you have Deku get sidelined first off on everything. So it's just like, so you just, then not even that. Then it's not even just ended there. Then you decide to have both Dabi and All For One have runbacks on their spot at that. And then Deku not gonna pull by the time we leave this bitch next chapter. So it's just like, and then he already got sidelined somewhere else. Now he got another detour to hold him up, whatever the fuck that is. It's just like, all right, bro. So like, you really they're rushing my ass then because you decided to take the long route. Long route, nigga.
Where it's like, there's obviously stuff on the hook here that is about to come into play in a way that people aren't or might not have considered. And that's not a bad thing. Because, I mean, one of my favorite things is when we have these conversations where it's like, damn, X, Y, and Z was something that we were all aware of but didn't consider. And I think that even came up during the like All For One and Endeavor battle, where it was like all these things are what make it a good fight that we easily could have like talked about. But at first it's kind of like, oh, well, all right, I guess this is just number one versus, number one, because in this case, like All For One, the original body is like Mr. One, whereas Shigaraki is kind of like Mr. Zero at this point, or lack of a better term that I can think of. So my stance on this, though, is just kind of All For One with what's going on with Shigaraki. We know that this massive cannon, this is the one downside. We know that this massive dragon, fruit, spider, tarantula, crab, locust cannon thing is not going to beat Shigaraki. What it will hopefully do, though, is either like take out another eye or maybe cause him to go deaf, some kind of damage that make it harder for him to fight for a little while. and maybe force him. But at the same time, if they, for example, Bakugo having injured one of Shigaraki's eyes while his body is looking for its ideal form, we've seen him randomly generate mouths now. We could start seeing him pop eyes over the body, like I think you mentioned last week, East. We could see him, as he takes more damage to different body parts, start generating those body parts as a means of effectively like regeneration and replication and replacement being just background abilities of his human physical self. And Mirio's comments on the extra body parts having less durability, though, is something that I think is Hori already having it in his mind to make sure he does not make Shigaraki so powerful that he's stuck sitting there like, how am I going to have them beat this character?
I mean, that's the thing about that, too. It's like, he not unbeatable. It's just that nigga Deku not ready to beat him as of yet. These other niggas can't really keep up. They doing their best, and they doing all giving them their respect. But it's the best they can do. They doing this without him with them quirkless. That's the catch one too. They doing with this with this nigga at 50% power, really 45% power. So what happens when he really unleash his true power? It's like, it's not that he's not unbeatable, but like, you know, even if you do beat him, you can't really just like. There's only one route for this nigga. Ain't no imprisonment type. He's too strong for all that shit. But Alves, I'm surprised you said this your chapter a year out there with Endeavor. The Endeavor thing.
Oh, and Tomofu, I agree that like it's not so much that why are they like, it should not be why are they here? They can't beat Shiggy. It's like, why are they here? They're a bad matchup for him.
Yeah.
Like putting a hand-to-hand combat specialist like Edshot and Mirko, objectively, this is a horrible matchup for them. From the fact that if he has quirks active, he's got a bunch of range, to the fact that just straight up having to fight somebody who, even back in the PLW arc, had physical strength that people saw comparable to All Might. So it's kind of like you put these physical fighters against a dude that, from every bit of knowledge and data you have, before being evolved or advancing that you were expecting for, was strong enough that he would probably be able to fold these people. To a certain degree, I feel like Hamwi Woods would have been a better choice than like Edshot, just because at the very least, you know, he could generate those trees, like create ranged attacks, stuff like that.
Man, no, because they knew that nigga was a fraud. That's why. That nigga pathetic.
Like I damn near want to say switch out Edshot and Mirko for Kamui Woods and Wash.
Oh, I'll take Wash. I'd keep Kamui. I'd rather have those two get folded than I had.
How you felt, Aniki, was how I felt about Tamik at the very beginning. But now I know that he has something up his sleeve. But like I was like, I had the mindset of, why are you putting this physical fighter that doesn't really have any long range? It's the same for Mirko and the others. At least they're out of picture now.
Yeah, like with Tamaki, I had come up, like I was like, okay, maybe we can get like some high tier poison, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then like the next week we got the poison, it just didn't work. And I was like, well, shit, I don't know what else you got. And that was when I was like, all right, but maybe we'll get him, you know, going back to like when he ate the crystal. And then I was like, okay, maybe we get him eating like, you know, Shigaraki, something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's like there were ways to maybe get him in the game, but it was a question, like I was leaning towards, no, he can't eat Nigeria's energy waves, just because it's like, how would that work necessarily? Because now I'm like, well, shouldn't he be able to consume like water and kind of just generate that randomly? Shouldn't he be able to, you know, like if he tried to eat some fire, shouldn't that technically be possible? So now I'm like, where's the line on these things? It's like when Shigaraki decayed the burden ball. More or less, the implication seemed to be from Redestra. He was like, this dude just decayed an energy blast. How does that work? Like, and that was kind of where his mind went with that. It was like, wait, did he really just manage to do that? And so, but I guess now we know, like, in theory, if it was a small black, like a smaller burden ball, maybe he could eat it and then have access to like launching burden blast.
That would be insane. I mean, he already doing finna pull out some goddamn Jagan type shit. Shout out to one of my favorite series of all time just ended. But
So-
Brandon De La Cruz, are we all still in agreement that Shigaraki is still going to kill AFO, or we think someone else is? Because what if Deku kills him? Now, yeah, that's fact. Matter of fact, the fact that the nigga AFO going back to his prime, positive is definitely gonna be Shigaraki. But if it's Deku to defeat / kill him, you already know it. Ain't no denying that point. That's a part 2. Because the amount of bullshit you had to sell to me with little evidence to support that Deku gonna be able to beat Shigaraki. He just fought a prime all for one and somehow edged out a win. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with selling me that. Good luck, that load of malarkey. But it should be Shigaraki because as he been dealt this bad shitty hand for the last final act, taking on Deku, and then he has region, so him going to toe now and a good ass brawl and then come recuperating. That's nothing on you go on a brawl, you really got no way to recuperate. So he can recharge after that shit. But him taking out both of those niggas, that would definitely give like a lot of goodwill back to his character, seeing as he's been treated for the past umpteen chapters.
Yep.
What's stomatitis, by the way? Is that like a condition with your mouth? Because Hori's comment this week is, I wish my body would stop using the system of telling me I'm sick with stomatitis. Please.
Subatitis?
Stomatitis. Let me look it up. It's the swelling and redness of the lining of your mouth. It can cause painful sores that make it hard for you to eat, drink, or swallow.
Oh.
So that nigga sick. Why the fuck he ain't taking no break?
Yeah, it's caused by viral or bacterial infection, a disease, or not taking care of your teeth and gums properly.
Nigga.
Jesus Christ, sorry.
You ain't brushing your teeth or something, nigga? You gonna take your ass to the hospital? So this is shit I be talking about. Fucking masochist. Now I'm gonna punch that nigga in his head 3 times.
Yeah, this is definitely a case of him just not taking care of his health.
Yeah.
He's been...
Oh, it's a gum infection. Take it, Eddie.
See, nigga, take a fucking break. I'd have been sitting in a fucking house. I guess, I don't know. I know we got a break. Nah, see, fuck that. He should have... I think we got a break the week after this, like, for the magazine. So that nigga should have definitely took a break and then had another break after that. It'd be like, all right,
yeah.
I really zooming now.
Dog.
Drop the pen, pick up the toothbrush.
Oh, no, God, right. Like,
dead ass.
What this just says to me is that dude is neglecting all facets of his health more than likely. So he's probably not eating as much as he's supposed to be. He's probably not showering like he's supposed to be.
Hey, you know what? And I know and before people start going to Blade Jump and this mangaka stuff, this and other, this is all him. Let's not try to point the finger at Jump this time. This is all him. You know how I know this is him? Because he an artist, and I know how detailed he is. And looking at this chapter, all them fucking hands he be drawing, and that shit he drew at the last page, he did this to himself. I know 100%. So we not blaming Jump. I know this nigga did that shit. I know he was like, well, let me just draw this hand. No, I don't need to eat right now. This second. I know what it's like being an artist and drawing and trying to get all that shit last minute and you being in the zone.
He's like Oda.
Yeah, doing all this little detail shit and all this hand shit and that, especially that last page and writing and drawing all that shit. I know he was in there like, let me just get this shit.
I mean, with Oda, when he was on break, did he go to hospital and then he was like working mid recovery?
Mm-hmm. Like that's the thing that a lot of these, and the thing is that yes, are they technically like are companies saying no to them doing this? No, but it's work. Like if you remember back when KNY and Promise Neverland were in the magazine still, it was like MHA, One Piece, KNY, JJK, TPN, and like they would rotate. Like the 5 of them would go on break, like in a rotation.
Yeah,
and it's like. We could have that. It feels like because we didn't have Black Clover and because One Piece was off for like, that while that he's been like, no, I got to make sure. And like everybody's been like, I got to keep dropping chapters because I feel like Gege's taken more breaks lately, but I feel like Hori has been taking less breaks this year than he took last year. And I can only assume it's partially him feeling like he needs to compensate for other people's breaks or something like that. And that's just not healthy. At the end of the day, if he needs to break, he needs to break. I realize Shonen Jump is probably not happy when they have to have so many people on break, but because let's be real, an issue of the magazine that doesn't have like One Piece, JJK, or MHA or Black Clover is probably not going to sell that many units.
You're missing a lot of shit. So
True, Julian.
At least Black Clover's back. So
Yep.
Yeah. And yes, Black Clover did have a good comeback chapter.
Oh, you read it?
Hmm?
That's cool.
yeah. You know what, Alves, that's right. Because Togashi coming back too.
Mm-hmm.
For a little bit of time. For a little bit.
He
of
has
time,
he has 10 chapters already storyboarded. The Eight Kings done, and then we're gonna get another 10 chapters like in the future.
See, so you got 10 off rip. That's a good time to get in and get out, take your breaks here and there.
And man, like we just got to get. They just need a better system for making sure that they're maintaining their own health. Mm-hmm. So like Horikoshi, you use Nutsack Face, you used the poison the week after I mentioned poison. So if you're hanging out in the chat secretly, take more breaks, man. It's okay.
For a punch in your head, bro. I'm not playing with you. I know I'm not blaming Jump because I know you did this damn way yourself because I know how you operate, nigga. All no fucking details and getting this and that and other. I know you, nigga. So sit your ass down. Watch some movies.
My opportunity to take over once Hori goes up break. My manga is going to carry Jump. You know what, Andrew? Keep spinning, bro.
Andrew, I don't know. I feel like Andrew could knock me and Roboco off its slot.
That's true.
Nah, ain't nobody doing that. Roboco is the anomaly that you had never seen before.
Roboco is the true peak fiction.
Roboco gets to, so it's kind of like how I will always say this: Phantom Seer did not do well enough for an Exorcist series compared to the Exorcist series that were running in the magazine next to it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Man, let me keep it a buck with you. The truth is that Roboco is the all might of all the new gen niggas that came out.
Shut up.
Whereas
there was Zip Man. Come on now, there was like what Tokyo Shinobi Squad. There's fucking Phantom Seer.
Let's look at the lineup of Jump right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So current Jump lineup is Super Smartphone, Mission Yozakura, Aliens Area, Duran Duran, Earthchild, Me and Roboco, Blue Box, Mashals, Muscles and Magic, PPPPP, Undead Unluck, Sakamoto Days, Akane Banashi, High School Family, Kokase Kazoku, Witch Watch. Like, of these series, I think only Roboco and maybe High School Family are like hard comedy centric series.
Yeah.
All these other slots, and then like obviously PPP is its own thing because it's a music based series, so you can slot that wherever you want. So you can call it a slice of life, whatever. But pretty much all these other series, like Yozakura Family, Earthchild, Duran Duran, Undead Unluck, like all these other series are like far more integrated with action. Where currently, in fact, looking at like you got Duran Duran here, and I wouldn't be surprised if Duran Duran ended soon. It doesn't feel like it's ending soon because I think that they want more than one Exorcist series in the magazine for a while, and so right now they only seem to have JJK and Duran Duran, but there's kind of like a clear balance of like genres and blends that they try to go for within the magazine. So if you don't succeed enough within that realm of the genre, like that niche, they're gonna get rid of you. So that's why like I feel like all Exorcist series have been having to try a lot harder since KNY and JJK, especially once and Time Paradox Ghostwriter was talking exactly about the issue that we're seeing with Hori here, with him getting sick and stuff. And then let's see. Yeah, like Mashal is a good blend. Oh yeah, Paradox Ghostwriter was going to be screwed from the premise alone.
Yeah.
Mostly because the premise is like it's a premise that because it had mystery behind it, just came off as this dude who could never be a good author is gonna just go ahead and steal this person's work, where if we had gotten some like shots from the future of like I need to save her or something like that, it might have gone over a little bit better.
That shit funny. That shit funny as hell. What nigga was stealing shit. That's my MC right there, yo. Nigga said, hey, guess what? Life ain't fair. You gotta make do what you got. So
That's me for real, bro.
you just say, this niggas, I'm gonna get the bag. So I'm like, wait, nigga, you get me fucked up. I want to write, but I can't write.
I feel like Time Paradox Ghostwriter would be a really good concept in another type of magazine, or at least in the West.
Yeah. It's rough to say it, but like that's a story that I think an American audience or like a lot of like Western audiences would have been like, all right, it's weird that he's a plagiarist, but we gonna see what happens with this. Whereas Japan was like, plagiarism, fuck him, and that was it. Like,
take away his job.
like 14 chapters is an insanely low amount of time for like a series in Jump. Like I think even that Our Blood Oath or whatever it was called, that vampire series, got more chapters than that.
Did Red Hood get a lot more chapters?
Let's see. Red Hood got to have at least 18. Let's see. Niru, Way of the Martial Artist, who I've only ever heard me talk about, got 18 chapters.
Yeah, I was in you.
I agree, Alves.
Bone Collection, that one got stuck at 15, but that was an extra
Bone Collection.
But bro, that shit was not finna go nowhere. I knew that shit from the start.
What's Bone Collection? I've never heard of that
series. It was an Exorcist series that popped out during the 2020.
Yeah, bro. I looked at art. I looked at that art. I was like, yeah, bro. Nah.
Basically, this dude became friends with a yokai. Yeah, and he would extract her bones to get different weapons out of her.
Nothing was hidden about that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the art right now.
Yeah, from the art to
it make a good webtoon though.
Yeah, from it really would have, but from the art to the premise, the MC, and just her, I was like, yeah.
And what up, Nafisa? Let me make sure we see you in here.
Yeah, Nafisa. I ain't getting fooled again. If you ain't make it past like 100, if you ain't make it past 70 chapters, don't talk to me.
And Red Hood was the series that went viral solely off the strength of a woman's cheeks. And when they found out that them cheeks wasn't going to be in every chapter, people stopped caring.
That's his fault. He shouldn't have did that.
He should have.
I really don't think I think he did not expect for her butt to have that much impact on people.
So he didn't expect the internet to be the internet.
That's it. Don't matter, but you capitalize on that marketing. Whatever the people the fan of, you trying to get your foot in the door. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. And you even gotta you ain't kiss nobody's ass or suck nobody's toe. If all I had to do was stay my foot in the door so I could do what I want to do, is just draw a fucking buff bad bitch. Shit, nigga, they ain't say nothing but a word.
Just look at Hori and Merkel.
Like my thing though is just like, hold on, let me look at this real quick because I'm trying to remember when Red Hood came out. See, Red Hood was in 2021. First year, and that was towards the fall / late summer, and 2021 was, I can't even give people the pandemic excuse. I don't know why they were so embarrassingly horny. Like, damn, because I'm like, wait, no, that doesn't work.
You know what? This 20. You said 2020 or 2021?
2021.
I think that was at the cusp of. I think that was at the peak of when buff women started becoming popular.
Oh,
I think that was the time that culture all across the world. It wasn't just manga. I think in general, that's when the buff women started peaking. I think
you're right.
It had already started a little bit before that, but I think at that point it truly started peaking.
People just started talking about that all the time.
Wasn't that the time that the Mikasa girl got cosplayed when she was like swole as shit?
That might have been around there, yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So I guess it was just the wave because I'm looking at this and I'm like, I think Guardian of the Witch ended in July 2020. A lot of stuff. Damn, that Death Note one shot is 2 years old already. That's wild.
It is.
It's from February 3rd, 2020.
It's just so funny. Wait, that shit's so funny, man. But
no, they were. It just wasn't that popular.
It didn't reach its peak. It was already,
Mhm.
but so
That's superior. Right
so since we speaking of like buff women and stuff like that, how peak they are. There comes a time when you have a blend of the two. She's not that buff, but she kind of fit, but she also got that dominance in her that not to be fucked with. So
That dog.
the peak of MHA, late in the gone, that was just peak. That'll never be reached again ever. I don't care what he pull out. That was just something. That was just like you had to be there at that time when she was in the manga. But sometimes you get things that are close to that, or something that's very similar. So, an MHA 361. Hey, since you got that all-powerful quirk, it looks like you look down on the rest of us.
Mystery.
Whenever I get curious and try to learn about others, I wind up driving them away. Which hero are you a fan of? But then you asked me that, and I got to learn so much about you two here, and now I'm all the stronger for it. So, in that regards, and that I wanted to talk about Nejire because the scans kind of did make that dialogue a little wonky because it made it seem like a different, like it didn't seem like Nejire was talking whatsoever. But like here, this official really did this chapter a lot more justice. From Shigaraki to Mirio Tamaki, like especially Nejire, her flashback, really definitely made it seem like Nejire was like, it made it seem like it made more sense just all together, right? So it's just like the next chapter is just like it's something about this nigga drawing flashbacks, and especially like how you see her growth now, her physical growth, and like how her hair is shorter and all that other stuff. It's just like, man, something about this girl. It's just like, I don't know. You can say so much was so little. It's just that nigga.
You can tell that part of that happy-go-luckiness comes from her trying to compensate a bit for that slight bit of isolation she's kind of always experienced. Because like her quirk is life force, like to a certain degree, is like turning like life force into energy, being able to blast stuff like that. So it's like when you look at like quirks impacting personality, it's like build up the charge and then reach out, and then sit down and be sad when it doesn't work out because people like don't. So it's like she's depleting her like life force or happiness, trying to reach out to people all the time. Yeah. And they didn't receive that, and they thought she was better than them. But then when she would try to find out about people, they would be like, "Whoa, too much energy, I'm out." Which I've definitely met people where I was like, I can maybe hang out with that person 4 times a year. Way too much energy right there. So
before that extra person speak, they got your real name up. So I don't know, you want to speak, but you should fix that. You know who you are because you just hopped in here. They got your real name up.
I did not.
Yeah, they got your real name up.
G,
so if you want to fix that, that's up to you or not.
I don't care. It's fine.
No, not you, Thomas. We all know your real name. I'm talking about BG. They got your real name up in the bottom corner.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, BG.
Hello.
Look who decided to show up, and he had the nerve to have the fucking goddamn Char Abby talk about something. I came here to laugh at you. After this nigga been MIA for like I don't know how many months, y'all can shit.
Hey, I think that's been BG's Abby for like the past 3 years though.
Yeah, it has.
No, what is it? Don't blame me. Blame summer school.
I thought you was already finished with school.
No, I don't finish school until the December.
Damn,
because BG went back to college, and this man is doing the summer school lap, so he trying to get that degree ASAP. I don't blame him.
Or just like me.
If you got the support, you can get it.
Yep.
Shit.
Oh,
okay. Are you still with the fam or not?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, until like April, and then I'm moving to California.
Okay. So yeah.
Cali. I'm going back to Cali.
Yeah, so BG out here getting his education, then he's like, all right, I'm dipping, y'all. I'm tired of this southern state.
Damn, they on your head, BG.
Yeah.
So BG, why you here? Todoroki hadn't done nothing this chapter. DG was out here pulling Mirio.
Hey, I was kind of sad when we got to the Dobby fight and we didn't get to have BG on. I know BG was.
I wanted to join. I didn't have the time.
Yeah, I know. I was like, man. So since you're here, BG, I'm pretty sure everybody who's in the chat, because like this isn't one of those we have like 200 people streams. This is one of those we got a lot of our regulars in here streams. How about you take the time to just talk about how you felt about your boy? Because we trolled you a lot about Shoto not doing enough in the story, so I feel like it's only right
Crazy.
that you get to talk your shit a bit, let your nuts hang, and celebrate your goat.
I mean, what is it? If I was anyone else, I'd be gloating. I'd be saying, "I told y'all." I'd be saying a whole bunch of reckless things. But instead, I'll just say, "Well, I was always privy, and now you are too." That's all.
BG being a gentleman in his celebration, but I mean, it was a nice touch. The biggest irony for me is that I think you and I had a conversation about scans a couple months ago where I was like, no, you don't understand. Nigga said that Shota was putting fire inside of his ice in the scans for a sports festival, and we got basically the invert of that power. So I was like, all right, cool. I like where this went.
I'm sure. Even the most privy of people, even the most like stubborn of people with his character we're fond of it. So I'm glad.
I
I
don't know why BG lying there. Lion didn't see BG on his Twitter. He was on niggas' heads. And even in the GC talking with Shota reflection, that nigga was on niggas' heads. That nigga was on niggas' heads, bro. He lying through y'all. He said he ain't coming here gloating because he already got his gloating out the way. I just wasn't there. That shit crazy.
I mean, the thing is just that like Shota was in this weird spot where because his family drama was like expanding the story, it was like, yo, dog, you getting none of the spotlight on this story that's relevant to you right now. And we finally got to have him come back in and like get his own time. So just like the big three, which I like the fact that we're not getting like brought them back together for what is probably their final mission of the series. So we're getting them doing the last thing that we'll probably see that whether they live or not isn't necessarily what's relevant. It's moreover that like for a while there, we weren't seeing the big three. We were seeing Sun Eater with Red Riot and Fat Gum. And we were seeing Nigeria with Sue and Uraraka. Or we were seeing Mirio be powerless with Eri. So it's like we never got to see the big three truly be the big three until now. So
One of them niggas dying. I don't know which one it is. One of them niggas gotta go because there's too many death flags on the play at this point. It's like, all right. Plus, we already know Sugar High gotta catch some bodies. You can't be the ultimate villain, more powerful than anybody, and not catch. Because all my and off one are just mandatory at this point in the story. They just absolute mandatory. That's you need to catch some other bodies for real. Like you can't be at the top of the food chain. And I fought like 10 niggas. I just crippled them off. And I just dipped there and then we just left. Like, all right, now they built a coffin in a death ring. Like this is a cage match. There's only a winner. Like, and there's only gonna be one winner, and it's either me or Sugar. That's gonna be Shigaraki at the end. So like, you need to do something impactful to be like, all right, Deku, put some like mental stress on you that you was late, bro.
I still think Tamaki's gonna die. Even though Tamaki showed up here and he made his massive cannon out of food, I see him dying soon.
Yeah. You don't think Vast Hybrid Dragon's breath is gonna?
No, I've said this to East and in the server, but I think Shigaraki, because he can create like heads and teeth and things. I can see Shigaraki biting off the massive arm and just chewing it away because I don't see this being successful.
That would actually be kind of wild.
I don't like that. I don't like that energy.
I kind of do.
That's a little disrespectful, bro. I'm like, all right, nigga, damn. Like, I know y'all can't stop the nigga, but yeah, do him like this now.
The idea of Shigaraki just chomping off his arm. First off, repeated what happened to him with Tabe when he pulled out the Kraken tentacles.
Yeah.
Second off, when your power is eating stuff and you get 8, that's rough. That's real rough.
That's rough, buddy.
That reminded me of the when somebody was like, if Tamaki was a real hero, Peter would be protesting against him.
Hell no. I forgot who said that. I think it's there's no real drawbacks to his quirk.
The only drawback to his quirk is that he has to eat stuff and it has to stay in his system.
Yeah,
but that's the best. Like,
which really just means that if you took the time to make some, and I don't know if you could make it taste good or not, but you could just make some slurry smoothies of whatever foods you need to eat that day and just hold your nose and chug it.
I feel like Tamaki doesn't mind the taste.
Yeah.
I feel like just like Sako, like he doesn't get affected by sugar, like he doesn't get diabetes. I can see Tamaki like whatever he eats, there's no taste to it.
No, like I mean that would be a nice benefit to the quirk because to a certain degree, like if he's able to eat all these animals and stuff and express whatever's in their genetic code, I wonder if, like, for example, when he's eating scorpions, does he gain that immunity to like scorpion venom, or is it like a scorpion could still stab him and kill him? You know what I mean?
He's producing the venom himself.
So it's like his body has to be able to at least take it while he's got it in there. So it kind of feels like his body, in a way, he is the exact same being as Shigaraki is currently.
Yes.
Just with, more restrictions due to the fact that he's not supposed to be that OP.
Hold on. Gerald Thomas, Gerald Thornton, my fault. I need you, or Gerald Thornton, however it's pronounced, my fault. I need you to elaborate. I need you to elaborate in that comment, unless somebody here understands what he means. I need you to elaborate.
I was kind of convinced of Message for One, but I'm pretty positive it was always supposed to be Tenko.
No, there's definitely still a natural vestige of All for One within him.
Yeah.
You can see that during the Star and Stripe fight, because you literally have All for One as a vestige separated, but like adjoined to Shigaraki. What's interesting is that with them in regards to VFO, as you're mentioning though, is that they've mentioned being closer to completion. And so while we can definitely tell that they seem to be like swapping who's more talking than the other one, we haven't gotten to see Shigaraki's inner world yet outside of what we saw with Tenko.
That leads to my question, because I get confused, is because we were discussing this when the leaks came out in the scans, that Tenko as a vestige doesn't really make sense, because we also have Shigaraki as a vestige, I guess. Like if Shigaraki goes into his vestige world, would he not see Tenko?
That is the weird thing, because it's like we don't know what the rules are with this, because this just seems to be like a part of his fractured psyche.
Yeah,
I was like,
within.
Couldn't it be like he had
weird?
Hold on, what did you say, BG?
Or something? Couldn't he have like DID or something?
Yeah, like I think he could have that idea, because one of the things that I'm thinking is that currently Shigaraki's outward appearance, with the one eye being blinded and like burnt off hair, is basically where it's like to represent the fusion of him and All for One.
Yeah.
And so part of me kind of suspects that we won't see Shigaraki come to a head with and like get control of his body and like lose that like barrier or buffer of, Monoma looking at him until he's resolved his identity throughout this fight. And then so it'll be like when by the time Deku gets there, it may be that he's just fully resolved, and Tenko isn't even a factor for the most part until the end.
That and that closing argument, because this is the thing about that too. That nigga keep that whole, like, somebody, I forgot what good point they made, but it's like somebody had really realized like Deku really got no business here meddling in with like as like agency. He don't really understand shit, right? So that whole like he ain't gonna do shit for Shigaraki. To not a league, they got stuff for Shigaraki though. They got like agency residence in that nigga heart and this, that, and other. Deku just trying to talk to Tenko and like not understanding a damn thing and just pulling up and just trying to like, all right, I say Tenko. It's not like this shit not gonna hit. It's not really like that's not hitting. Like it needs to be the league. Like that, like you say, oh, like Deku should be the one, or Deku needs to save Sugar. Like, no, ain't no saving.
No.
Ain't no saving, nigga. Fuck.
The thing about that is that sure, Deku doesn't understand Tenko's situation, but you don't have to understand someone's situation to lend a helping hand. It does help. It would help a lot if you knew what would have happened, which is why I feel like when Deku arrives and whenever like you have that interaction in a vested world, we're going to see kind of memories, I guess. That would be the only way Deku would actually empathize 100%. But what Tenko really needs, not Shigaraki, what Tenko needs is a helping hand, because basically All For One shouldn't have been there from the beginning. It should have been All Might. It should have been someone to help him. But it was the symbol of fear that came to his aid.
Yeah, but that's all the people's fault. He got every right to hate the world. I don't care what nobody say. He got every right to hate the world. Because when I tried to come back, feel guilty and be a human being and try to be innocent, I'm like, yo, I'm sorry for what I did. Like, well, I'm not really my father, but everybody else. That was on y'all for no walking around the street all fucking day. And then a single person want to take them out. So that's on y'all. So he got every right to hate y'all niggas. Because y'all all the same. Niggas that just, and they got worse as the years go by. We get complacent, ignore the real crime because, you know, nobody got time. All the heroes are focused on actual crimes, and a little lost child means nothing. It's like, that's on y'all, bro, for the fucking result of that. It's like when Dobby said, yo, die for our sake, bro. It's like, all right, like, you're the reason for that. The reason y'all the reason for this shit. Y'all fucked up, flawed ass society. Y'all
That's
let
why
us through cracks.
That's why I really liked the talk in Deku Black, where the citizens are actually confronting the bystander effect and they're actually criticizing it. That's great. Like, that's what should have happened years ago, but it didn't.
Exactly. And that's the thing too, like, and it's okay Deku saying that approach, but it's just like, yeah, bro, you really got no agency here compared to, you know, the league like that. It's like they need to liberate. You just want, if you just like one little piece of it, we need to, like, okay, free Tico. We worry about Shigaraki. All right. This is who we care about. That's what matters, is Shigaraki. We already knew you was gonna do what you're gonna do. That ain't the issue. It's just like, because you're gonna learn your lesson about trying to do that shit. You gonna learn your lesson about, like, all right, you gonna learn your lesson about that shit. Like, for real, for real. But well, shit. And I guess what? I wish it was a separate body situation, like in Kingdom Heart, with different vessels. I will. If you want to compare it to that, which do add up. Well, I wish it was separate bodies for all those niggas. And shit, I'd be much more comfortable.
You want to be upset right now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm tired. My patience is ran on zero because I'll tell you, I'm gonna have to be doing. I'm gonna have to go in the chat and I'm gonna be seeing bullshit about this whole and the jokes about Tickle being saved and it reverting, or it being a cop out so he could get, so Shigaraki can get saved and all that. See, I ain't got time.
No. Also hate J. Michael Holmes.
J. Michael. No, he was saying somebody in the chat.
Yeah.
Alex and Nader. There are people who want Deku to just beat Shiki instead of trying to save him, but then it would just be repeating the problem or pushing the problem under the rug.
It would repeat the same problem.
It really would, and that's one thing about that too. It's like, it's double edged because, like, all right, Deku, I ain't got no problem with you doing what you're trying to do, but you need to come correct first, if anything. Like, if your approach is let me smoke this nigga and then let me find out after I beat him, that's a fine approach. I don't really work like that because, you know, that nigga, he don't know the true story like we seen Shigaraki. Like, I think he kind of seen it in the war, but like niggas don't really get, like, nah, bro, you ain't seen him versus Redestro. You ain't seen him like fighting Star coming out after the nuke. You ain't see him fighting Maki. That nigga don't quit. He don't stop. But if you came in with the intention, like, all right, I'm gonna beat this nigga, then I'm gonna find out what really makes you tick and this, that, and the other. But, like, you know, because it's like what you did with, like, Muscular, kind of box it out and then this and the other. And then what you did with Nagant. You see, I understand to a certain extent, but it's like, all right, you can use that excuse with Nagant because, you know, that's Nagant. She never had a black heart. She was just, you know, she got jaded. And look, she wouldn't even get corrupted. She didn't even get corrupted. She was doing what she was just told. She didn't even get corrupted because she knew her heart was right and was wrong. But you got somebody like fucking Muscular. He couldn't touch that nigga heart. So what the fuck is like touching Shigaraki? Or just absolving everything and all the hatred. It's like, all right, I understand, but cool, you understand me. You reached the hand out, but a little late for that, nigga. We already well past that point. We at the point of no return. But I do appreciate you, like, you know, understanding what makes me tick, and I understand what makes you tick. Because it's like they say it, like the adult said, hey, bro, you know, some people can't be saved. Some people are beyond that point. Like, it's nice you want to say the child, but you know. Anaki's still gone. So we're gonna
We're gonna what?
Hmm?
You said so. We're gonna what?
no, so Anaki's still gone.
Makes sense.
I kind of want to see a what if nation of like maybe just one chapter, kind of like a smash chapter of Bakugo being his prototype
Beating or being?
or being, my bad,
Oh,
because his prototype was more akin to Deku, where he was more kinder, he was more softer. If I could find the page,
Who being the Ken of Deku?
Bakugo, the prototype.
Anaki not here. Sorry, yo, we missing half our staff. You already know what Anaki dealing with. He got, you know, pregnant lady over there, so God knows what she got. She probably
oh,
Throwing up.
crap! I
throwing
forgot
up,
to. I
farting.
forgot to. I forgot to congratulate him on that one. I didn't know.
Mhm.
Didn't you? No, you did in the bishop circle.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Yes, I think Sayers was the only one that didn't say something because she probably didn't read the notifications.
Mhm. She's probably busy.
No, I didn't say that. I just told him best of luck about the job situation. Yeah.
Well, then that's all you did.
Yeah, because I
Damn.
was because I found out about the other thing from like looking in the announcements.
Damn. What a bad homie. Who said that?
Kind of fakies for that.
Who said that?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Oh, all right. Let's get this show on the road. Apparently, I'm gonna have to hold it down because Anaki want to go. He got duties to handle.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do I want to discuss? All right. Everybody place your bets. Who you got? Who you got of the big three dying?
Tamaki.
I don't know. Maybe probably Tamaki. I don't want that.
Mhm.
Very don't want that.
I kind of want to learn more about Neshire. I kind of want her to live a bit more.
Yeah, that was
Same
pretty
with
nice.
Mario.
It was nice what I was getting from her, bro. Like it was quite beautiful. And I don't think it's talked about enough. Those niggas are top 10 material work. The other
There.
one, they like lower half on the bottom. Like really, they still top tier, but they like I definitely placed them in the top 10. But them bozos, them other bozos like Kamui and all them.
I've been enjoying seeing these children get mutilated though. It's been fun.
Yes, it has been fun.
Especially Bakugo. That brought absolute joy to me.
How'd you find the chapter though? I didn't see your
Oh, how did I think? What I think about it?
yeah, on the chapter with Bakugo and Shigaraki.
Oh, last week?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that shit was amazing. I was going crazy when I was reading it.
Oh, 9.
Because like I said, I got to see Bakugo get destroyed. Because finally saw him really I saw him get humbled once again. It was great.
A lot of people got Tamaki.
A lot of people have Tamaki.
I think that's the general consensus.
Nah, one of these niggas going and somebody gotta go. Especially all these damn death flags. Like I said, there has to be like there gotta be like a death. There's a death, like a miracle level or a genius level, like headshot. Somebody's got to die. Nobody really care about. Probably genius care. People like, oh damn, genius death kind of hit whatever, Kabako, whatever. Then there's got to be a real death that kind of like hits home for us too in this field.
Like you can't be fighting the strongest villain ever and not have a single death. Come on now, like there's got to be something. Like I have to feel like, oh shit,
I will exchange every single character on this battlefield for Bakugo.
Oh,
Yeah, I'd let every single person on this battlefield die to keep Bakugo around, because anything that would happen between Deku and Bakugo after that much tragedy would probably be worth more than anything that can happen with Deku and any other character on that battlefield if Bakugo died.
So, but shit, all right, bro. It can't be the Vegeta. It can't be the Vegeta gimmick then. The sacrifice. He's just going to have to get pierced.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing I could get from like everybody being like, Deku, I'm sorry, we couldn't protect Bakugo. That would be as good as like Bakugo apologizing to Deku for failing, and Deku being able to be like, nah, dude,
it's okay.
Right.
Deku hasn't gotten his I am here moment, like his big I am here moment. So if he arrives to the field and Bakugo's like just on death's door and he apologizes for not being enough, that would be the best like place
Like,
for him to say I am here, especially when it's being recorded too.
Give me Deku pulling up like Ichigo after Byakuya's first fight in Thousand Year Blood War. Like,
I'm not
give
there
me
yet.
that.
I would give the Soul Society.
Oh yeah, but didn't he? Never mind.
Have you ever seen that page where it's like Ichigo save Soul Society?
Yes. Yeah.
That's basically what I'm saying. And anybody who's gotten that far, anybody who knows what happened in that fight, despite what happened due to death threats later.
Jesus.
You're talking about that.
Yes. Because like everybody gets mad at that moment because of what happens later, but it's like what happened later was a direct byproduct of dude receiving a bunch of death threats on Twitter. Like that's why Kubo is not on Twitter.
Man,
like the thing that led to Ichigo save Soul Society is why Kubo is not on Twitter.
Listen, man, tell
That's
you
such
what,
a cool panel, though.
Tell you what, see, this is the reason. See, these niggas ain't got it. These niggas ain't got it. Me in their corner.
It was.
I've been like, hey, bro, I got something for them. This is what we gonna tell them. I'm gonna pull my pants down and I'm gonna take a picture of my ass and I'm gonna send it. And that's what I'm gonna tell y'all to kiss, because we ain't changing nothing. Like,
so
I see you can have me better. I'll be like, pull up there, nigga. What y'all gonna do? What y'all want?
Perfect. Thank you, Elvis.
Yeah. I'll make sure you know, because like when you get there, you're gonna be like, bro.
I'm almost on a wrong car, so like, or not a wrong car. I'm almost on fake Karakura.
Okay. So yeah. But like, because the reality is like this is the first time we've got Deku doing the Goku thing where it's like the MC is on the way. This is like the first time we get that with Deku. So I'm like, give us every single like payoff of that kind of trope we can have. Like have him be that dude that's like there, and it's like this is the man that we're entrusting with everything at this point.
You know, that's gonna be, and if it goes south, then what?
Yeah.
Then if it goes south, that's gonna be even worse on that nigga name, on everybody. They're gonna be like, all right, bro, we gassed you up to the highest heavens. We have waved you to save us all, and then like, gotcha.
And Brandon De La Cruz, you're correct. The closest thing you could argue to that is Deku pulling up in the overhaul arc to help Mirio.
Yeah.
And that doesn't count specifically because he was like, Night Eye, Midoriya, anyone, come help. It wasn't him reaching out for Deku to save him. It was him needing help, period, and Deku happening to be the one to save him. Like, we can be hype about him breaking through the wall because we're like, that's the MC. But like, it's not the same as like inverse them being like, I need this nigga to get here, please.
Yeah, they're actually canonically asking like, Deku, yo, we just buying time to Midoriya get here. Yo, we need Midoriya here. Midoriya, get your own way here. Midoriya, what's holding you up, bro? Get your ass here.
I think at this point in the story, Horikoshi can just delve into shonen tropes.
I think he's earned it, but also that like this is actually a time where that this is where that trope shines best.
Mm-hmm.
A situation where it is very hopeless, where you're providing that light at the end of the tunnel for a dark path that everybody else is on, And if we're gonna make Deku be late, come on.
You gotta have an open. You gotta have an entrance, or you're gonna be late, bro.
Like, even if it's like Shigaraki about to do something, and then like out of nowhere we get that St. Louis, boom, and like the final shot is his foot going across Shigaraki's face as he's entering the battlefield. You gotta at least give us that.
I kind of want a repeat of what happened like that in Heroes Rising. Where he kicks 9 in the face. The same Katsuma? Yeah, Katsuma.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's like right when he's about to get the kids, and then they're like, "Wait, how did you survive?" And then that's when like Bakugo was like,
We used that damn idiot.
That thing that Horikoshi moved the placement of in the PLW arc. So, oh, because that's what another one of those things that I think is kind of funny that I don't think I've seen people talk about. Is how the Kaminari moment is the exact same thing, and you could tell that like Off Nine's design was also similar to the one that Shigaraki has that arc. So PLW really did look like it was going to be the original endpoint of the series, and then Hori was like, "Nah, we got a little more stuff we need to talk about and explore." So
I forgot how many volumes do we have right now?
we are
We
at I
have-
think 35.
Yeah, 25.
35.
But that was like how many chapters ago? The
Oh
35
shit.
top one?
Oh wait. Yeah, we should be. That was like at the end of the Dabi and Shoto fight, I believe.
So we should be in what, like 30? We should be at the end of 36, beginning of 37.
Yeah, basically, this should be 36,
Yeah.
37.
Because I'm
So-
looking at volume 35 now on the wiki, and it goes up to chapter 350, and we're just at 361.
Yeah, we about to hit.
So
yeah,
30,
so
so
we're-
36.
Yeah, we're in 37.
So this is
Yeah, so 36 should be coming out in a couple of weeks, like the design.
Oh, I can't wait.
so I presume, and that means we're probably going to stop at 40.
You think 40?
Yeah, I think
40
40.
to
That's a
42.
You-
40 to 42 is where we stop.
I could
Yeah,
see
okay.
42.
I got-
40
I got-
feels like a little too fast.
If we had went the basic route, I could have gave you that. But since we doing a lot of run backs on shit, I got 42.
Yeah, I would go with 42, maybe
Mhm.
even 45, but I don't know, like, because if we're at 37, that basically means every single plot point would have to, like, all these major plot points would have to be wrapped up in the next 30 chapters, which I guess is possible, but it feels
Nah, because the prime off one shit already elevated 4 chapters at that location alone. Then it's the aftermath. What if he goes to after that? Then the Deku shit is 3 chapters at minimum. So that's already a run back. Then you got another 2 to 3 for Dobby shit. Then you're gonna have the run back. Then you're gonna have the run back of what happens after this chapter with Shigaraki, and that's like phase 3 when the climax is involved. Then you're gonna have the other fields. We know they're getting Kurogiri, Maki, so that adds another fucking thing. And then we got 4. That's 4. Then that's like 4 off rip. Then that's like another 3 after that. Then you got the other fields that gotta have at least 3 to 4 chapters. Like, there's no way we get that in the third.
Well, don't mistake this as me trying to wanting it to end faster, because then this is making me this is just give me something to gloat about to conquer if it actually doesn't, if it does take way longer. Because I don't know if you remember that. You not remember when Conquer trying to say that it was going to end this year? He said that last year.
Mhm.
Oh, that was impossible. That was a joke from the start.
Yes, and so I get to flex on that. So I can't wait.
Oh, and I don't know who said this earlier, but no, Mina's not beating Gas Mascot.
Oh,
Me-
when
me
they
and
said
yeah,
Mina
me-
would beat Gas Mascot and
Yeah,
Gas
me-
Mascot would still free.
Nah, they not beating that nigga. I got no faith in those niggas. Not even the fact like this plot. It's just I got no faith in those niggas winning whatsoever. Like in the slightest. Ayoma, I got him doing like with a double whammy, like maybe Fat Gum, put in the work, and then he come up and do his last thing. Like they go and tag teaming, and he ultimately is a double whammy. They both KO or die, whatever. But that fight, no, I ain't got faith in those niggas at all. Gasman's got built too different. He ain't been playing with no advisors like he was playing with Gasman's got. That nigga came on scene catching bodies. Like the way he just played it, the way there was an ominous aura and a roar, like just builds up around. Nah, hell no. He finna smack those kids sideways. They gonna be playing with the big boys.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Let's see. 46 through 47. Could that be the limits? Yeah. Because
What happened?
I was looking at, like, somebody said that NDOT was saying that he was thinking like 46 to 47, but that's stretching it to the limits.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed, but I don't see it.
Yeah, it's like I'll take as much My Hero as we can get, just because. I mean, there's a lot of potential like narrative stuff that you can hit on with multiple characters that if you like squeeze that into this arc is perfectly fine. Like if we get more stuff about Shoji and mutant discrimination, because we've got Spinner and Shoji paired off against each other, I'm not going to complain about that. We could spend a whole volume on just mutants and I'll be like, dope. Talk about it.
Especially with horror cross. The minute I see a gray toner scale on any page, I know it's a wrap. That's a flashback. It's a wrap.
Especially because like we had the CRC introduced in this story. So if we get some mutant discrimination stuff, maybe Shoji being like a minimalist because his parents were actually CRC members and he just always had to like got rejected by his own family. That could be wild. That could be a crazy story. Like your parents put you in an orphanage because they're members of the CRC and they don't want to have you.
It's like, what do the parents look like then, dude?
So
it's been around since the beginning of time. So it's like,
so
yeah, Alex and Hader, when the Monkey Wrench, like they already got the Monkey Wrench. It's like Dobby's like a little bit more for people that don't really talk and just read a chapter of MHA. They're not gonna realize what the Dobby shit is. They gonna think Dobby's is one and done. The off one shit is pretty cut and dry. He about to go back to his prime, and that nobody stands a chance because they didn't stand really much of a chance before. They did good. They did good, but after they don't use everything in their power, it got injured like this. Yeah, no, you can't go bang back with a prime off one when the weekend off one was doing this to y'all. So the prime off one, it just got like, oh, I'm fresh and renewed. Y'all worn out like dogs, boy. Like for real, nah. But yeah, it's gonna come. That's why I know why he's saving those battlefields, because once those niggas really come, that's when it's undeniable, like which way it's going. So like once the chips start falling the wrong way, that's gonna be like, oh shit, wait a minute. Hold on, I thought we had this in the bag. Heroes winning, just like the last war. They had everything in the bag, and then shit just went south at one point.
Actually, that's a good point too, because I was brought up how Kubo said he specifically mentioned the Bambis or the Valkyries, that he decided not to draw some of the stuff in the manga because he was pretty sure it was going to get censored and removed in the anime.
He said that?
Yep. It was in a recent interview in a video where he was talking about it. So he was like, there's a couple fights and stuff that I guess are going to be in the anime that weren't in the manga even, but they weren't in the manga because he figured it was going to be censored or removed and stuff like that.
Oh.
So
Cameron Bailey talking about the Bleach anime, and Amir, it's the kids are going to keep leveling up. Like there's going to be a certain point, Deco's is going to be ahead of everybody. But like I said, that does not going to exclude anybody else. Just as far as like they're clearly useless. Like, because there's always workarounds to your MC being strong. Like you just don't include him somewhere. Simple as that. Or like they don't have to be side by side. That could be on his lonesome further in the story, and then like they doing their own thing. Like there's plenty of ways you can keep them up there because we know who's going to be on his level at the end of the day and in the future. We know who the people at the top are going to be scaling behind him. This is all about your competence as a writer and that you got a strong lead and a strong cast.
Yeah, he 1,000-Year Blood War will have him on the board. Like a lot of gore is one of the first things that gets removed from a lot of series. That's actually why a lot of people say that Bleach was the series for the edgy kids of the big three.
because they had some blood. They had blood here and there. Like, well, it was really crazy in that manga.
That was also why. And then if you think back, One Piece came out on 4Kids.
Yeah.
One Piece later got put on Funimation, but like One Piece was run on Toonami. Naruto was run on Toonami. Bleach was ran on Adult Swim.
Oh.
Bleach was an Adult Swim Saturday show.
I mean, it had a different, more mature vibe anyway. When we
Yeah.
was running on that shit.
Well, and that's why it's always funny to me, like when people are like, Ichigo is so bland. He's not like, well, what's his goal? And I'm like, his goal was to fucking live a normal life, and he got forced to live a complicated one. That's why I love the fact that apparently he's an author as an adult. Homie was like, nah, bro, if I gotta live and put up with all this, I'm gonna get paid for it. One way or another, I'm gonna get paid off this.
I'm gonna write my stories in this bitch, nigga. My experience is gonna be worth the damn, nigga. All this suffering I went through, it gonna be worth the damn. Hey, I'm here. I'm just going to stroll through. And listen, did not have this. I don't want the gap being too much. Did not have him save the day every saga. And it's like, nah, that's not how it's gonna be. It's like they don't need Deku saving their asses. Like everybody's competent and capable enough to handle their own fights and this, that, and other. And like this ain't like other series where we got some new godly beings showing up every time, every arc, and it's like, oh my gosh, we've been fighting for 5 hours and we need Deku to come save us. Like, nah, it's too. By this time later in the story, there'd be like so much chaos in these streets. It's like, all right, bro, you know.
And to answer your question, Javon, there's plenty of stuff like
Black Clover Shippuden.
I could talk about Black Clover because Black Clover doesn't always make me happy, but I remember I asked people on Twitter, like, do you have a floor series? Like, what is a series that things need to be at least as good as for you to consistently keep reading them? And Black Clover is like my current floor series, where if you're not as good as Black Clover, you're probably going to get dropped. Not even on purpose. I'm just not going to think about you enough to keep reading.
That's the case, then if that's what's considered a floor series, then I guess I won't be dropping anything.
Oh wow.
Yikes.
There are words I can say, but I don't want to get kicked off the platform.
No, so like my stance on it is like, for example, like that Sakura team manga, what's it called? It was the one where the dude. I'm trying to. Now I gotta find.
What's it about? What's it about?
This girl has all these ghosts following her and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And like this dude is supposed to like work for an exorcist company or something like that, and he's like super scared of ghosts and all kinds of other weird stuff. I'm trying to see if I can just spot it real quick.
I think I know.
Matama Security Spirit Busters. There we go.
I've never heard of that.
It finished in August 2020.
That was a gag series that ran for way too goddamn long.
Yeah,
that.
That was a series that I was like, because I was trying to read everything in Jump at one point. I was like, I'm gonna try to read all of Shonen Jump, and then like it would just be like, I would just be like, oh, I forgot to read that chapter for like 6 weeks. Like anytime I've ever chosen to like not read something, that's different. Like if I just Volk, check your inbox.
Security Spirit Busters. 47 chapters. Holy.
See,
like Mori King. I tried to read Mori King.
Yeah, you a stronger nigga than me. I said, yeah, I'm good, bro.
Like I made it through like 10 chapters and then just.
I mean, listen.
Kept forgetting about it.
Hey man, listen. All I know is my series. I took 2 L's, but you know what? I got Marshall, and then I got Sakamoto. Sakamoto days is peak every week. It doesn't make sense.
I haven't.
Yeah,
you know what the
I
sad
haven't read
thing
it.
is? You know what the sad thing is? East. I love both of those series. I haven't read either of them in weeks.
Crazy. Sakamoto days when they get his anime announcement soon. Marshall they got his.
Yeah, and it's not coming out for like probably another 2 fucking years.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because my thing is that if Mashle doesn't get its anime for like 1 or 2 years, then there's a chance that, and with where we are in Mashle, there's a chance it'll be all done, which means they'll have no excuse to screw up a bunch of important stuff because there won't be anything speculative. You'll know what you need to make sure you include.
Bro, Mashle is.
But there's not a chance. It's not about a chance. They already confirmed
Mashle is beyond so simple to just adapt. Like you cannot fuck that up. Like for real, dog. Like,
which means they'll have no excuse to screw up a bunch of stuff. Somebody's got me coming through.
Is that you, Volk?
There won't be anything speculative. You'll know what. Yes, it is Volk.
Yeah, I was like,
Hey, Volk.
that was me.
Volk, turn the stream off.
It's me. I don't know why the audio.
Mashle is
Are you watching the stream?
so simple to just adapt. Like you cannot fuck that up. Like for real, dog.
You're right. Yes, you cannot fuck that
Yeah,
up.
man, like I was saying, like that. Whoever that was talking made a great point. So I'll just follow up what he said. That amazing gentleman that just spoke. Yes, like that amazing gentleman said, you can't fuck it up. It's so simple. It's like, bro, you literally, it's no complications. There's no like overall, like, bro, it's just so simple, bro. Just do it 1-to-1. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, animation don't even gotta be like, oh, One Punch Man blowing me away, Mob Psycho blowing me away. Like, just pretty simple, bro. Like, it's not that. I don't know how you can fumble the bag on that. That's a cash. That's a cash cow if I ever seen one.
Like, does beg the question though. Do you think Undead Unluck is going to get its first chapter adapted 1-to-1?
Yeah, you know what? Them.
No, I kind of want to look at this new chapter, this first chapter.
I don't know if they want to do that, Playboy. Alexander, thank you, Alexander. He Stroker, this is kind of aimed at you. Based on what Alexander said, I mean, the narrative has really framed it as that Deku can't be the single pillar that Sai relies on to save it because they did their all might and society near the crumble because of it. That's why we're not gonna do this shit again. It's not gonna be just all right, we just expect Deku to save the day. Nah, ain't never been like that, so I won't turn into that. Especially this deep in. But I read Soul Love. I need to finish it though. RP to the
artist. Yeah.
The illustrator. Yeah, that nigga's a god, bro. Like for real. But no, I have not finished Soul Love, but I need to. Wait for Volk to speak because he hasn't. You know,
Hi, sorry about a little earlier. I forgot to turn off the volume on the stream, like on the YouTube window. Okay. So all right, what were you all in the middle of talking about? Because
we ended up doing one of those Church of MHA deviations, so we can bring it on back and get your thoughts on this week's chapter.
Okay. This 11-page chapter, I presume, because drawing all the details of Tamaki's mutations must have been a bitch to draw. Must have spent a lot of time on that. Very good. Very good. And I think like the most striking thing about it is that it confirms once and for all that yes, Tenko can take over if like under the right circumstances. And just like because he is still a child on the inside, like the Tenko personality still is anyway. You'll see that provoking a childish response out of him is what actually let him take over for a bit. And like it was to the point where like Mirio was like actually taken aback and he actually felt bad about it because he sensed that it wasn't really Shigaraki he was talking to. He was actually talking to somebody else entirely different. And I think that I think what I like about this most of all is it sets up a feasible way for Deku to defeat All For One Shigaraki. It's all about reaching to that part of Tenko inside of him. Like, yes, you're gonna get all your action, your badass Deku versus Shigaraki title match, but the key to all this does seem to be Tenko. And more than that, I liked like what little we saw of it. I loved seeing the Nejire backstory. It was like 2 pages of it. I'm so sad we're likely never going to see anymore. But you got a little sense of where she was coming from, that she kind of like, because she was so extroverted, that kind of drove people away, but then she found her friends, big three. And also, this chapter calls back to Mirio's belief in Tamaki and coming up with the name Sun Eater. And he's like, hey, you're amazing, man. You can do anything. And once again, that's what it comes down to here at the most critical moment, trusting him to land some sort of attack, right?
Yeah, whether this be a cannon with, because, you know, since he apparently ate Nijiri's energy waves.
Yeah.
Which I guess here's a question too for like you guys. You think that basically eating her energy waves is going to give him the ability to like keep firing this thing, or do you think he's just going to be stuck with like one blast?
I think he's going to keep firing it, because what else is he had the cannon for except for shooting seeds? And it's such a big cannon that I feel like he's going to be firing energy blasts.
Because that's where I am too, where I feel like, because it's not like he made that diamond or crystal and he just had, you know, that one crystal against the trash trio. It was like he technically had the ability to make more, but if he felt like it, just off eating a small portion.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do like that we established a precedent for it to be like objectively tangible via Mirio equipping it like a gauntlet. So it's like Hori was like kind of making this so that the suspension of disbelief would already be in place when we found out he consumed the energy. So I like that. That's setting it up so that it's like, well, there's already established precedent for it being an equip spell. Why wouldn't it be edible then?
I wonder if it tastes like McDonald's Sprite.
Oh,
I can see that.
Which I guess now that begs the question, like, how are you feeling about, you know, the death flags? Well, because I just like peeked around your thread that you did today, but if you will have expanded thoughts, I kind of want to hear them.
I mean, it's no secret MHA has been kind of light on deaths. Like, it's not the worst out there. It's not as bad as people make it out to be, but it definitely feels like it could use a couple more, at least one more instance of death, especially since this is like the last war, the final arc. I feel like Tamaki dying, sacrificing himself here, that kind of makes sense, you know. And you know, that was the big death flag where he said is like, I want to graduate. The Eddie Munson vibes, it's like, it's gonna be my year. And you know, like finally seizing that courage and really shining bright. And you know, it would be fitting, you know, if he landed an attack that Deku could exploit, you know, like fitting with his name Sun Eater. Like I think if any student is going to die looking at everything, it's either him or Aoyama, or maybe both. That's like, I feel like again, I know people were worried about Bakugo last week, but it's like, he's Bakugo. He's safe. He's clear. Especially after that last attack Shigaraki gave him. Like, yeah, it was bad, and he seems to have lost his arm, but I think he's gonna pull through, because he's still Bakugo. He still ranks number 1 in the polls, and he's still Deku's number 2, I guess. It also doesn't really make sense for Mirio or Nejire to die at this point to me. It's like, I feel like Mirio's ship is kind of sailed. Nejire, that doesn't quite have the same impact. So between everything, and I assume a couple pro heroes are going to die as well. Between everything, I think Tamaki is the most likely candidate of the students to be taken out.
Especially since if he can put out damage like Bakugo put out damage, he doesn't have the same, Shigaraki doesn't have the same need or desire to preserve his body, so to speak, as he does with Bakugo. Like with Bakugo, there's a bit of, I want to use this as a chip. for manipulation.
Yeah.
Whereas Merc and Tamaki is just nigga die.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I've been very busy the past couple of months, just looking into what I'm going to be doing from here on out.
Mhm.
But so I didn't have time to tune in last week. But did you guys talk about the theory about Shigaraki remembering his encounter with Ochako at the mall and linking her and Deku as sort of not really not necessarily a thing yet, but a thing to be? Because like if he's looking for somebody close to him to hurt, and if Bakugo like manages to escape, he'll be like, "Oh, I have this other option that's just as viable. That's Ochako."
We did not talk about that, but I do like where your head is at on that.
Never heard that theory.
Well, but Volk, that is bringing up a really good point, which is that Ochako straight up was like, "Get your hands off of him." Like stood up to Shigaraki. Now, whether or not he decided to give her the time of day in his mind, like going forward or not, that remains to be seen.
It does,
but it feels like it should have come up because of Toga.
Yeah, it's like, to me though, it's like when you look at the mall scene, it's like Deku, like there's not really an ulterior reason for Ochako to be there other than to highlight her and Deku's bond, which is fine. But like Horikoshi always goes back to these things that you see like one angle of, and then he pulls another angle on them, like consistently. And it would just feel a little odd to me where you have this mall encounter where like Shigaraki was mostly getting carried away. Like it was more him like forgetting himself and like placing the last finger on Deku's neck and accidentally killing him. That was the danger, because he didn't really want to kill him right then. Not intentionally, at least. So you could like he could have easily wrote it where like Deku was alone and then Shigaraki walked away. Like he easily could have done that, but he didn't. He had Ochako show up, and like that just feels like a typical Horikoshi thing where he's going to go back and say, "Oh, this is why this happened this way."
Yeah, I mean, and we have, like you mentioned, there is like an established precedent for this, like with the Giganto Makia thing, and how like Mina got that call back where it's like, not only did we get an explanation on like who Makia was, or like we got Makia's origins in Kirishima stuff, or like our understanding, which even within that flashback was a callback to something in Kamino, because you remember it was like he was going to the Springer agency, which often want to use spring like limbs. So it's like, wait, so Hori just explained some random quirk acquisition from Kamino in this story, and then it's like, yeah, but this story is also going to impact this character's development, and then we're going to understand that this character does this because of this, and then this character is going to feel a certain type of way later when Ree confronts it with that scary ordeal. And it's like, so now we get to expand on her character because of that. In addition to that, having a loss in real time, which even if Midnight's death isn't really Mina's fault, having failed or like frozen up in front of Makia the same day that Midnight died is something that when we take the time to go look at Mina, almost inevitably, because Gas Mask is at the same site as her. It like, and let's be real, Gas Mask, especially when MHA kind of does this thing that it does another thing that JJK does, but like on a different trope. Like JJK took the always explaining your powers trope and then made it where that was a part of the combat system and it made your ability stronger. Whereas with MHA, a lot of times people reveal secrets or things like that in mid-combat because not being in the right state of mind leads to increased margins of errors when utilizing your powers or body or whatever. So in turn, him revealing to Mina, hey, I killed Midnight, is an excellent way to distract her and be like, oh, well, yeah, we took out that teacher because she was a fake hero. Even if he doesn't say it directly to her, like, I killed your teacher, him bragging about that and boasting about how he's killed heroes on the battlefield is something that would be utilized to boost the morale of his own, allies, because he's one of the people leading the charge, and to tackle the morale of others. Which, that being said, do you really want a girl who secretes acid losing like control of that? Because like that would be a perfect callback to season 2 or like final exam arc where her and Kaminari are like, yay, robots, it'll be fine. And Bakugo's like, just learn how to use your powers to not kill people with them.
Yeah. It's like I think because there are so many details, people kind of get caught up in like new things that get revealed. Like even this week, like I saw some people complain, why is Tenko taking over Shigaraki? This sucks.
Mhm.
It's like, but that's his entire thing though. He's a child on the inside. He was never allowed to grow up. Like he's consistently been shown as a victim. Like, yeah, you have this raw, like super badass raw side to him. But ultimately, you need to look at the big picture and see that it's always been framed as him just learning to use that childhood, like that childish need to get back at everybody in a more effective way.
Mhm.
Right? Like he's never actually changed on that base level. He's changed how he goes about it and executes it, which is what's made him a phenomenal villain now. But he's also, like, again, he's always had that stunted growth and that stunted worldview. And even this chapter, when Mirio pulled the line on him last time, it's like he didn't have any friends. That would work on like almost every other main shonen villain, but like it's a simple way to flip a trope on its head. But like it kind of gets to the heart of how, like, yeah, you can beat this guy, but that's not really going to solve anything in the long term. You gotta actually acknowledge that there's this part of him that needs to be saved, and only then will you have truly won.
And if you don't want any more Shigarakis, which obviously the surface level takes, well, don't allow any more Ujikos to make experiments. But it's like, no, you have to get to like the heart of the issue, which was a rejection of his dreams, a neglect of like what made him happy, and furthermore, yes, All For One, you could say like All For One manipulated people, whatever. Yeah, but when Tenko was on those streets, multiple adults was like, a 5-year-old covered in blood? Bye. Like old ladies to 20-something-year-old dudes on their way to work. We're all like, wow.
Not my issue.
A 5-year-old wandering the streets.
Yeah, and this is like, it's one of those things where like it's kind of like seeing a homeless person on the street, but this is cranked up 10 times worse, where like this is a child. Like you see this sort of default to inaction like throughout the series. I'm rereading right now slowly, but I'm rereading
from chapter 1.
Yeah, you start to notice like how everybody is just sort of conditioned to think, oh, heroes are here, oh, All Might is here, oh, that's great, he can take care of it. It's like nobody is encouraged to take responsibility. And that's also why, Aizawa being such a strict disciplinarian with Class 1A, like while harsh a lot of times, has built them up as, an ideal class of heroes, because he's constantly teaching them about how hard it is to be a hero. And you can't be like all these other slackers who are just in it for fame and fortune. Like you have to understand the realities of this business. And on top of that, like accept responsibility. And that's just built to this point where they're effectively leading the charge in a lot of ways more than the pro heroes, to the point that, it's a frequent meme that like they're basically child soldiers now when you look at it from like a real world perspective. But anyway, it's comic book logic. You gotta roll with it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like, I guess I'd say that I'm not gonna lie where, I missed the part where that's my problem. Yeah, that's the Spider-Man line. Yeah. Because ultimately this has always been a tale about, yes, the inequality in society, but also when you think about it, this is ultimately the journey of addressing what makes society wrong. And you can't just default to bad people make society bad. It's more complicated than that. And My Hero's kind of doing its damnedest to like highlight this. Yes, we unfortunately do end up with the ooification of villains within like the fandom.
Yeah.
But at the very least, at least some people are capable of registering that is an objectively unfair circumstance, a situation that puts people in a mind state that leads to them doing things that we might not necessarily find ideal for society.
Yeah, this is like why the Hero Public Safe, whatever the name was,
Yeah.
like they were pretty shady because they had to keep things in check and like they had to keep beating people down because otherwise they would address what's wrong with the system and get in the way of like everybody earning a buck, because like heroes being like basically movie stars and commodities and brands, that was not like just meant to be like a glamorous part of the world that makes it interesting. That's actually something that's actively wrong with it, right? Like,
Yeah.
at least the way it was executed. I'm sure, you know, there's still going to be like marketing and stuff. There's still going to be stars to a degree, but I don't know. Like it's got to be hero work first and fame like as the last motivation, essentially.
Like, and
Well, I mean,
oh, go ahead, BG.
I was gonna say, well, it just sounds like they themselves are victims of capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is kind of like, because when you think about it, Offerman's plan was ultimately do a bunch of stuff that capitalist companies already do. Like, especially using he used that potable water example for a reason, and I swear it's because of the Nestle straight up like moving into people's towns and like buying up their own water supply, and then being like, all right, you got to pay us to get water that was here like before we lived here, that you used to be able to access just fine. And it's like,
that's a good comparison.
Yeah, like that has to be why that went with that. They went that direction and used that specific analogy, just because it makes it abundantly clear. It's like how people say that Frieza is also a tie into land sharks back in Japan in the 90s.
Mhm.
That I don't know how much is true, because
Oh no, that's true. That
is true. That's
Yeah.
Toriyama's basis.
the only reason why I was like, I don't know for sure with Toriyama is because dude forgets whole characters and stuff, so it feels a little weird. But
Okay, but to be fair to him on that one, he forgets shit intentionally, because I think he says that when he makes a new when he's working on one story, he wants to focus on that. But when he's finished with that story, he wants to forget the story completely. So that way, when he goes on to his next one, he won't like be tempted to take ideas from his previous works.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Toriyama in an interview for Dragon Ball Super Superhero forgot that Dragon Ball Super was called Dragon Ball Super. And that's why he made a mistake. It was meant to be Dragon Ball Superhero, but he forgot it was Dragon Ball Superhero.
wow.
Yeah, but I mean that's about him being old though.
Yeah.
And as to your pool noodle question, I mean, Bakugo got a spiderweb fracture on his arm when Shigaraki crushed it. So that's like the worst kind of fracture you can actually have, where a lot of times if your bones get broken that way, especially in multiple spots, there's actually a chance that it'll just end up having to be amputated because it might be irreparable.
Turn that up, please.
I had that feeling after last week. Like, you know, Bakugo's main advantage is like he exerts power from his hands. And Jiro just lost an earphone. It's like it's it feels a lot like a lot of what the kids like kind of took for granted, like just these things they always used. They're gonna have to improvise. I wonder if Bakugo can sweat from his feet in this new awakening. I think that would help him out.
If Bakugo starts actually like kicking people with explodey feet, I'm here for it.
And it would also make sense, like, because he's taking inspiration from Deku. Now that like end of last chapter, he was analyzing Shigaraki's moves. Like he does this with his right arm, and he goes here, and he's muttering to himself, just like Deku. So if he switched to like kick attacks like Deku did, that's a good way of showing that like Deku took inspiration from him at the start. He's now taking inspiration from Deku. It's always about those parallels.
And that's why I was talking about it earlier, where I was like, Bakugo dying is, like I said, Bakugo dying isn't worth it because there's nothing we can get out of Bakugo being dead. Or like if you compare like losing every other character on the good guy side compared to like losing Bakugo, there's just so much more narrative power between a Bakugo and Deku interaction with him dealing with his grief and failure over stopping Shigaraki versus him just being dead and Deku having to deal with that. Where him being able to apologize to Deku again for not being able to save everybody or doing all that other stuff is more powerful than him just being unconscious or dead when Deku gets there.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm not sure how much more he's going to be able to fight. Like we don't know what's going to happen. Like people have discussed is Kirigiri going to get free and warp everybody back to the same location? I'm not sure. Like, would he be able to fight then? I don't know. As it stands, I feel like everybody's having their shot at Shigaraki right now so that Deku can have his proper 1v1, which I think is the best way to go about this, honestly. Like, I'd rather that final confrontation be between them, and you can have a group attack before that for sure. But like, I'd rather the absolute final battle be just between Deku and Shigaraki, because that's what this entire story comes down to in the end, even more so than All for One. It's about Deku and Shigaraki just being born on entirely separate ends and put into entirely different circumstances, and they got to meet in the middle, and it's really about them. So.
And figuring out like why, because my stance is, Deku did get shoot style from Ida. That's partially, at least. That's why we're saying Bakugo would be learning from Deku, who I guess by extension is also learning from Ida, which you could argue because Hori does like to include foreshadowing, color pages, and the anniversary page specifically, Ida was holding on to Bakugo's leg.
Yep.
So we could be getting something out of that actually, where he'll be running around and then using his feet. And after all, people do love to compare him to like Iron Man. So Bakugo using his feet for thrusters and still being able to blast with just his one good hand is very much like I
was thinking Shinra, but that's a very good example.
Yep. I didn't want to compare him to Shinra just because like EOS Shinra is some whole other mess.
He's a whole another conversation.
Arguably deific. So it's like didn't want to compare that. But yeah, let me see. I think we pretty much wrapping up though. Oh my god. All right. So let's go around the horn, do some final thoughts. Let's start with Thomas.
There's not much I can discuss because it's such a short chapter, but I really love the inclusion of Nejire. Nejire for the longest has been the character people most likely go to for the Hori is a misogynist take. And although I don't really care about that because it's just nerds on Twitter, it is great to see that he's using Nejire to like a point where it's like you can see where he's going with her. Up until now, Nejire has always been that forgotten big tree member. And just to see her backstory, at least a bit of it, and to see her meet Tamaki, just the way that Mirio met Tamaki and asked what was his favorite here, it was great. I like the Tenko stuff. I want more from Tenko because Tenko is a really important character. And aside from that, I can't wait for next chapter. Mostly because we're going to have a lot more content. I don't see it. I'm excited for that. Also, I want to see us swap to a new location next chapter, or at least like at the very end, whether it be Deku or Uraka or Mina's area or Sero's area. As long as Hori's safe, that's all I care about. But yeah, great chapter, and that's it.
Okay. BG.
It was a good chapter. Very, 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 very short. But I'm excited to see where they go take this Tenko stuff. I want to see exactly what the plan is here, but I do agree with Thomas that I do want them to shift.
Mhm.
I want to see what happens with that all for one stuff. Because I'm not gonna lie, that was a very brutal cliffhanger.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, I think it was good today.
All right, Volk. Final thoughts.
I thought it was a very fun chapter. The Tenko stuff is like that spells some big implications. Like it was already hinted at the POW, and then even stronger Star and Stripe. But now it seems like with everything coming to a head, Tenko is finally in a position where he can finally be freed, and that's gonna depend on when Deku gets there. I also liked the parallels with the big three and how that called back to Overhaul, and I think it sets up a really cool form and attack for next chapter. Very short, but like I will take quality over quantity every time. This is a very quality chapter. And yeah, can't wait.
All right, Archbishop East. Oh, is East here?
East.
Oh,
East. Oh shit.
Hey, we gotta make sure East ain't dead. Let me call him real quick. I don't want this man being dead on stream. That'd be wild. Let's see. East.
East or blue.
Oh,
Where's he?
okay.
Oh,
Good.
I
You're not dead.
think he's on the E.
I'm just glad you ain't dead. So, final thoughts, East?
All right, let's get it in. All right, since we're wrapping it up and closing this out, once again, another great chapter. Although I have to deal with this goddamn Megamuru Abu fucking this shit. I can't wait till this is all over. God damn, man, I can't wait till this whole Shiggy Tenko nutsack for one shit is all over. Goddamn, because what it'll be worth is worth it. It's just goddamn getting there gonna be so much issue. Hope we switch next week. Pretty sure we'll probably be switching next week. But yeah, yo, shout out to that nigga Sunny there, man. That I keep looking back at that panel on that page, bro. That shit is fucking immaculate and insane, bro. Like that shit is fucking insane. That nigga got my respect to the end of time because that nigga ate a tarantula. You wouldn't catch me You wouldn't catch me a goddamn in 1,000 yards near one of them motherfuckers. So to eat one, nah, man. Listen, listen. That shit crazy as fuck. But nah, man. Honestly, it's respect that's become put on his name that we were all slandering this nigga for him. Like, what he gonna do? But he came back and ended up being one of the biggest, MVPs of the entire thing. So to see, I can't wait to see how much that shit is. So that shit gonna be great to see. Nejire getting the fucking backstory. That shit was amazing. It's just something about the way he writes this shit, man. The way these characters just be interacting. These flashbacks be different, bro. I don't know what it is, but hey, man, bread and butter, that nigga, bro, untouchable when it comes to backstories and tragedies, man. And the hope that underlines all that shit. Absolutely fucking beautiful. It's just amazing to see how far characters can come from the time we start, the time we don't know them, to what we do see them as, and in that moment they grow and exceed expectations. Absolutely beautiful once again. Can't wait to see next week. That nigga need to sit the fuck down, brush his damn teeth, and fucking eat food and sleep. This is not Jump's fault. I will not let people blame Jump this time. It's on this nigga because I know how he operate and how he like doing all his little details and shit and all this shiggy hand shit and that Sun Eater's fucking ultimate vast chimera shit. I know that's all him. He was in the studio. Let me write this. I don't need to eat. He in his zone. So this is him self-neglecting himself. He need to do better. And I know you listening and watching. So take care of yourself because I'm still gonna punch your ass in the head 3 times because you keep playing with me. And I'm tired of you not take care of yourself. Horror coach, you know who's I'm talking to. So honestly, another great chapter, another great stream. Appreciate y'all for coming by, man. You already know what it is. Undefeated of the East, baby. What it do? I appreciate y'all coming.
All right, you already know how it is. Wrapping up, I appreciate everybody that came through, especially like Volk and BG. BG, you've been busy. Same with Volk. Thomas, thank you for coming through from abroad. I know it's probably like 7 p.m. by you or something like that.
Almost 7 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah. So I know you're in Ireland, so I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Of course, Archbishop East always coming through, holding it down. The people in the chat like Ndot, Tunisia, Ponzu, Alves, just Cameron Bailey, Nader coming back. Appreciate you, Quizzy B, Alex Nader, contributing real well to the conversation today. Appreciate everybody that came through. I think we should all, just look forward to what we got coming and try not to get wrapped up in any doom posting you see online or anything like that. Just let the story breathe, trust what we got going on. It's very clearly, being shaped with a point and a purpose. So let's just enjoy the story while we have it here, while we get to do it week to week. What we're experiencing, like the week to week experience is something that you can only have once. And if you miss it, you miss it. And that's just how it is. So while we get to have that experience in real time, it's like this creativity is being expressed. We need to take that time to enjoy it and appreciate it for what it is. And understand the magazine format. Like I said, I think this chapter is oddly short. We know that Horikoshi is having some health issues. Definitely hope that after this next week's chapter, even if he, wants to, very much hoping that he takes a break, leave us on some kind of heavy cliffhanger, because it is supposed to be a chapter in 7 days. I wouldn't even be mad if we got an update halfway through the week that is like, nope,
yeah,
we're going on break for a week.
Good. Sit your ass down, nigga.
Like,
I would be happy with that.
Yeah, like, please take care of your health. And that the same really goes to anybody out here who's working. Make sure you're taking time to take care of yourself and not just stressing yourself out every step of the way. So yeah, appreciate you all. And that's really all I got to say.